live because we might as well talk about the Spanish on the air anyway. Hello. It is the Tocayos. Risa just brought that up to me. That I don't know what I saw your name commenting in lobsters and stuff for years as Risto and all that stuff, and I didn't even know of the nickname of Risto for. Even though my older brother served in Finland and all that sort of stuff, I didn't even know that was my same name for. I think when I first saw you commenting for a long while, I didn't know until you told me. I think and I was like, I don't even know that, and it's my own name. I never came across that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I kind of had the same experience because I knew it was a Finnish name, but I didn't know that it was my name until because our family had traveled up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. They had a hardware store that's Risto, and I knew Ristos in Finland, and I don't know when it dawned on me. There was at some point it dawned on me that wait a minute, those letters are in my name. I wonder if
figured it out.
Well,
I didn't even register that those letters in that order were in my name because it seemed like so hidden behind the CH. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And then once I found out, I was in this secret club with some Mormon missionaries, and I told them, and they started calling me Risto. So it's their fault.
You're not supposed to tell names in Mormonism.
That stuck. No, well, they could call me whatever they wanted to, right?
Yeah, but I was just joking.
Oh, my secret name. Yeah.
I just saw somebody in the group put out that they had a kid with a name, and the name that they put out was my secret name, which I said it was my secret name. Yeah, so they chose my secret name. But
yeah. Well, I kind of stepped in it this past week in the lobsters group. Because I was trying to figure out what are the boundaries of what's secret, in the temple. And so I just kind of.
Oh, you were going to ask them about the law of consecration one, right?
Yeah.
But the law of consecration.
I didn't know if it was something that could be really discussed,
Well, that's one of the weird things about it, because you were asking it, and the thing is number one, you used the wording that was from the temple. So you said, could I say this and ask about it in one of the Mormon groups? And we read it, and we immediately recognized it as the temple wording. And we said, no, they didn't immediately recognize that as the temple wording. But I think there's other stuff that's also temple wording, because it's kind of just Genesis stuff. There's some temple wording, and people will kind of joke around stuff like go down and it is good, stuff like that. I will go and I will report. That stuff from the temple, and they'll joke about that and just kind of say it out. But I think the simple fact that is something that was temple and something that was kind of purposely removed and ran away from, I think then it would suddenly get chilly cold. What's he talking about? I think there's only certain things that you're kind of not supposed to get into. I don't know what you think about that, Flip.
Temple stuff?
Mentioning temple stuff. That one would get chilly, or the one he brought up about the law of consecration stuff. It would get chilly because there's a lot of people who try to wave off who's ever there.
It felt like the thoughtful saints group all of a sudden with that. The answer I got was it's all in the scriptures. Well, how am I supposed to know what part is? And then people kept telling me you have 10 clear answers in the thread, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this.
They're being esoteric about the answering.
There's no obviously, because obviously the church has never come out and said this is the stuff you can't say. But I always understood it as the signs and tokens and their names. Those are absolutely off limits. Everything else is in the Pearl of Great Price. So how can you? That's basically not secret, right?
Well, that's kind of what people were telling me, but I don't know what part of this Pearl of Great Price it's in.
Yeah.
But I think is the law of consecration in there? Stuff?
I don't think the law of
before we go too much further, I got to see Charles's comment. I loved it. I laughed. I was just at a block party where I was stuck making small talk for 2 hours with a highly autistic neighbor. I've never felt more prepared for porch time.
He's our autistic hero of the week.
And we're gonna get highly autistic this week. We promise.
Is Jared on paternity leave from us?
He is on paternity leave from us, I believe. I mean, he said he probably couldn't be here. Although when he said that on that day, I thought he was going to be having the kid today,
I
and he
don't
had the
know. Just
kid yesterday.
strap that baby to the mother. I mean, she's busy making cookies, I'm sure. Like,
Yeah.
he needs to patriarchy this thing.
I don't know if she was forced to care for him, like stuck to her body like that. I think she could probably rightfully kill it. You know? I don't know. It's like a day and like, well, now you're back stuck to me. Like, game on again. Like, rules back on. Did you see the stuff where the lefty people were kind of trying to argue for future babies and future babies of babyhood and not just babies that are in the born, but even like unborn future babies, like unconceived future
for birthright
babies.
stuff?
Yeah, for birthright specific.
Yeah, no, all of a sudden that's a potential human being in there.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like, well, it could be a voter. That's a person.
Yeah.
Something that might ever vote Democrat. Did you see in England they're going to reduce the voting age to 16?
What? No, I did not see that.
Yes, and because that just sounds like teenagers are retarded. They should not be voting. Like, that just seems, I don't know. Like 18 already seems kind of like, seriously? I mean, I don't know. Like, because I remember when I was in high
this
school,
should just be like a civics test to pass for.
I know lots of people. I can't even think of it now. Some famous funny guy made a joke about this, but I remember being in high school when the other kids are like, our parents' generation ruined everything. We're gonna fix it all. And I looked around like, you idiots? Not a chance.
Isn't that a G.K. Chesterton quote? He says, "Here's what happens.
I think so. Yeah.
Old people are smart, and young people are dumb, and old people are." I'll see if I can find it. Anyway, back to the temple thing. What you can and can't say. I think there are, like I was telling him, I think there are some things that if you start getting into it, nobody's going to be that upset about. If you're like saying like, go up and report, go down and report, go up and report, or something like that. But when you talk about the law of consecration, the fact that they're kind of like, well, we kind of don't want to admit that part, they'll get chilly about it, I
was just thinking about the film, because none of the signs or tokens or names are in the film, if I recall, right? That's all given by the temple workers.
Yeah.
And so, like, why couldn't you show the film? It's just the story of creation done badly.
Well, I mean, there's some point, right? There's got to be some point where you say, I'm not going to say this. I mean, is there like a
I think there is, like, you will not share. It kind of like doesn't hint. It says you will not share or sell these tokens for money or something like that.
Dude, have we asked ChatGPT? Is there an elder ChatGPT?
No, actually, I did ask ChatGPT originally, and ChatGPT, it wouldn't tell me. It kind of was like, oh, well, that's considered like special and sacred, and ChatGPT did not want to tell me.
But I wanted to probably tell you what's in the secret KKK book or in the secret Freemason book. Have you ever read the secret KKK book? It's hilarious. Like,
No,
I was expecting it to be all like, Protocols of Zion and stuff. It's just Dungeons and Dragons shit. Like, it's literally just LARPing weirdness. Like, it made the KKK just seem silly. Like, honestly, like goofball silly to me.
Yeah. Nick Steinbeck says, I always knew I could make my companion laugh on my mission if he laughed at my Satan impression.
Which one, though? What's the guy's name? Because there was the good Satan was the guy. Who's that guy? The opera singer.
Yeah. They posted. Do you know who the Satans are, Reese, just by hanging around Mormon space? Just by, because even that, when they kind of post the face, nobody will say who it is. They'll just kind of like wink.
No. Well, I thought it was supposed to be like pastors, Protestant pastors back in the day.
No. There's a particular face that they'll show.
Oh,
and whenever they show it, then they'll never exactly hint, but they'll just be like, who's in your chat? It's kind of like how Chris Hansen's face will pop up in something like, hey, do you like young girls? And then somebody will just put Chris Hansen's face. Like, if you're all over Mormon or ex-Mormon, whatever, just suddenly you might see this guy's face. And if they're showing you this guy's face, they're they're hinting at Satan. And
So
you might not have known that if you weren't Mormon. It's this guy right here.
No, I have
Yeah.
seen that. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
So when they're
yeah.
popping that up, they're making a Satan reference without saying Satan. Too.
Oh.
Man,
And
he looks
he's
like he could have
not.
been an extra in Star Trek.
And he's not a pastor? Because I thought when I was looking into the temple stuff, that was one of the things taken out.
They kind of hint at it, but I thought most of the stuff where it started back in the day, they were harsher on Catholics than pastors. And so like
Yeah.
I would have thought that when it was originally created, maybe they turned them into pastors in the 1900s or something, but they didn't say pastor ever. Just like the dude in Heliocentric who we're covering tonight, like he realized when he was reading that book that Great and Abominable Church was obviously kind of talking about Catholics because everybody around the burnt over district were griping about the Catholics, you know.
So like when I Google what LDS temple covenants, it's got like the autofill thing, and the sources are LDS Living and LDS Daily, and it has summaries of the covenants, and the fifth one is Law of Consecration. Members dedicate their time, talents, and resources to the building up of Jesus Christ Church on earth. These covenants are considered sacred promises between it's kind of weird. Like, why would what you posted be at all controversial? I have no idea.
Well, I didn't post the words. I just asked what's public and what are you supposed to keep secret? That's all I asked.
Oh,
and people like their brains were fried over that. No one could answer that. Eventually I took it down. I just posted the Nirvana Nevermind cover.
Oh, so like nobody even gave the answer I gave, where it's like the signs, tokens, and their names. Those are the things you can't reveal.
No.
Trust us, I remember when people used to think that the Maytag repairman was one of the apostles in the temple video. And he says, if anyone ever gets skittish talking about temple stuff, just say it's okay. I've been reading Hugh Nibley lately. That stuff, man. So that was in Thoughtful Faith where you were in that, or did that also happen in Lobster? Okay, in both places.
I was just saying it felt like the Thoughtful Saints group.
Oh, I remember because that thing is like, I mean, even before the internet, because when I was a missionary, somebody like an investigator's kid gave me a book that he was had read, and it was the Mormon Murders, and it was just a true crime book about Mark Hoffman, and it had the entire temple ceremony in it, like, and it was just like a cheap, like, you know, grocery store aisle checkout. You know how they used to have, remember when they sold books at the grocery store? It was just one of those kinds of books, and like it was pretty like anti-Mormon, but not in an evangelical kind of way, but just in like a true crime pulp novel, like isn't this stuff weird kind of way. But like I remember being kind of struck by that, like, because, you know, it's just because like the rest of it was just a pretty accurate story of the story of Mark Hoffman that just, you know, really pushed the church's creepy cult angle. But yeah, the entire temple ceremony was just smack in there. Like, I thought that was crazy.
Look at this. We got a new daddy. We thought you weren't going to be able to make it with
I'm not going to be very long. Morgan's just kind of, so we were supposed to be in the hospital tonight too.
Oh, really?
Like, seriously, last night she had the baby pretty quick yesterday. And then last night we were having a good time hanging out with the baby, and she fell asleep with the baby in her bed. And a nurse came in and woke her up to say, "You can't sleep in the bed with the baby." And as soon as the nurse left, Morgan was like, "We're fucking leaving. We're gonna. I fucking hate this place. This is fuck these people. The first sleep I've got in like 23 hours, and this bitch." So we left a day early, so now I'm here.
I thought you'd be in a good mood. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's pretty good, all things considered. But yeah, she's just hanging out with a friend up there, showing off the baby. But when she's done, I'm gonna go up there and help her.
I guess it's like a liability thing, I'm sure. But
oh yeah, I'm sure.
It's nurses are way like co-sleeping bad, because you'll roll over on the baby and kill it. But
I mean, I don't know.
I have to imagine, like, I've never dug into the stats, but it doesn't. I really doubt it
I'm
happens
sure
that
the
often.
1 in a million though you wouldn't want that to happen on your watch.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Charles says, on my mission, met a Freemason who gave me all the signs and tokens, and my whole world got real big, real fast.
Oh, that was the other one. Was when we watched because
the Mel
think
Gibson movie,
we watched the Mel Gibson movie on our
Conspiracy
mission.
Theory. That shows some of the handshakes and stuff.
Well, it's because the last token is the Freemason handshake. They are the same thing.
Yeah. You
I
know
think he
what's funny
does a
about that?
couple of them.
I heard you guys talking about that at the beginning. I had a funny moment. So my mom is labor and delivery nurse, and she's always the nurse for our babies when they're born. And she's showing me like some things I can do to help Morgan if she's having a big contraction. She's showing me this like hand massage thing. She's like, you can like massage your hand like this. She kind of like intertwines her pinkies with mine, and I just kind of like chuckled, and I was like, "Has it a name?"
That's the type of stuff you hear everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I felt like a dick because I was like, "Oh, there's like a student nurse in there." I was like, "Oh shit, I don't know if she is Mormon or not." That probably, but she had like a tattoo, so I don't think she was. But my mom thought it was pretty.
Man, that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
If I was one of the leaders of the church, I think I said this recently, I would make all that stuff public.
Enough ex people made it public. Like you can find it on YouTube.
Well, and it
Well,
would
I think
help
it
it-
only works in their favor, and then you just explain everything symbolically. You know, you just come out and you say it's not actually a secret handshake to get you into heaven. It just symbolizes these things, and
Well, you could do it that way, but I think most Mormons, at least, it's so cryptic and vague that I think a lot of them. I don't know. I was kind of halfway under the impression when I did it that like you got to remember these to get into heaven. And I was like, it's not like God's gonna not let you into heaven. He'll be like, you forgot the handshake, but like it's this. You got to do this.
I thought I had to work on memorizing them, but I thought I had like my whole life to do it, so I didn't.
It's just
have to
like
worry.
this whole idea that like getting into heaven is like the DMV. Like you have to
Yeah.
pass the multiple choice test. And
Well,
like,
I hear Reese over there talking about him asking questions on Thoughtful Saints, and they're all like, "It's all in the scriptures." I'm like, is it? Like,
no, but like
is
yeah.
it?
No, most
And
of
what scriptures? You know, like if you're gonna, I don't know. At least give him.
Well, that comes up in the heliocentric video we're going to talk about tonight because I mean he pointed out if people don't know, it's called heliocentric channel or something. He's called heliocentric. A guy reviewed the Book of Mormon kind of cold turkey from an atheist point of view, and Nemo had him on and talked to him for an hour, and then the Word Radio guys reviewed it, and I think they were most upset that he called it boring. So we were jumping off of that. But one of the things he did notice is that he said that he'd learned some stuff about Mormonism, and he was expecting to find that stuff in the book, and it wasn't there, and he was wondering where it was. And that's something.
Well, because the one thing I thought was kind of funny about that also is just like, because I've actually watched a little bit of heliocentric stuffs lately, and because he goes to churches and reviews them, and man, he shit on the Jehovah's Witness memorial service, like he shit on it so hard, when like all he said about Mormons is it's boring, and like I just imagine like if they watched his thing on witnesses, they'd probably be 100% on board with that, but. Like all he says about it is that it's boring. Not even says like, yeah, the theology is bad or whatever. Like he doesn't say any of that.
Nick says Jesus is showing signs on the tokens in the front of the freaking temple in Oakland, California. Blew my mind as a missionary.
Really?
I bet you'd see people doing that like in the ex-Mormony world, standing and protesting. Charles, who was it? Steve says, since you know the tokens, can you still just use them to trick your way into heaven if you are not a member? I don't know.
Exactly.
I wonder.
Well, they put a huge emphasis in the temple on not selling your signs and tokens for money, and then all of us are like, who the fuck would purchase them? But also, like that kind of lends credence to the idea that maybe you could sell them and somebody could just like, get bootleg into heaven.
It just popped into my brain of the image of 3 kids in a trench coat
That's how the
Sneaking their way, like they walk up to the veil. And
this is the stack right here, right on the screen. That's how we walk up like, hello.
He's selling fake IDs, but eternal.
Yeah.
Strength in the bones and marrow in the chicken.
But then you got to coordinate. Like Flip's got to do the hand, and I got to do the speaking. I don't know if anybody has ever had to do that in history. That's pretty tough to line up. What is that? I don't know. Where are you touching me?
And then the kind of the apologetic of it's too sacred to say. But then, and then it's like, well, you can just Google it. Then you Google it, you read it, and you're like, that's not really that sacred. It's just like passwords or promises. I mean, there's nothing here that's.
You clearly don't understand the magical power of alliteration when people say things like sacred, not secret.
Yeah,
it's funny because
that's probably all that really kept it going is that it sounded cool.
After that, I kept using the term sacred combinations and thought I was pretty funny.
Yeah. No,
I've had this on the screen forever, and I should have just read it and got rid of it. Sorry, let me say it real quick. We mentioned the Flip. You said the quote. It was G.K. Chesterton. He says, "I believe what really happens in history is this: the old man is always wrong. The young people are always wrong about what is wrong with him. The practical form it takes is that while the old man may stand by some stupid custom, the young man always attacks it with some theory that turns out to be equally stupid."
That's awesome.
All right. But I mean, I made the joke a million years ago that like if the CIA stamped everything with top secret, like
top secret. They can't say sacred. They can't mix church and state. No one's ever done that before.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know what's your guys' names here. My name's Huckberry. You want to know why it's what Huckberry?
Chuck Berry.
That thing? Oh.
No, we're talking Twain and Huckleberry and all that stuff. Yeah, Chuck Berry, because he was a pedo, and we talk about pedos all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually just like dug that one up today. I asked you guys earlier, like, is there a master list of people accused of underage sex out there? I didn't get any answer, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna make one. I started doing it and just like clicking all the different names and clicking on. I just barely got started, but it's pretty much everybody in music ever, most authors ever. You know what I mean? I kind of think like, what can we have in this world if we could just only ever partake in anything that has no pedo involvement whatsoever? Like the day without blacks that they try to do or something like that.
Oh God!
What if we had a day without pedos and you had to do a day where you could not participate in anything that a pedo helped bring about into the world?
Fucking Chris over here. Hear me out, guys. Pedos the nonsense get a bad rap.
The nonsense. I'm just
you don't appreciate them enough.
I'm just saying, like in a purest way, to see if we could get outside of ever having to use them, because we actually want to get away from them. Could we, like, if the microphone is invented by some pedo? Probably is. Whenever I say something out in the world, it turns out, like, I Google it and it's true. It's almost like the Rule 34. If I can think it, there's a pedo of it. The
Alice in Wonderland guy. I found out.
Yeah.
I was like, bummer.
Now I'm more shocked to find out that they're not. At this point, because Chris gets this smarmy look on his face just about every week. Guess what I found about a roll doll, huh? You know what I found about a roll doll?
Hey, who's someone you like? Tell me someone you like. Tell me. Anybody.
He fucked kids.
God damn it. Pick a guy, any guy. Pick a guy, any guy. King of Hearts. Pedo! Anyway, reading Second Nephi, pray for me. Did you know that Second Nephi was considered the tough one before you started it, or were you already into it?
No. I was like I just finished chapter 2, and then I heard that Second Nephi. It might have been, where did I hear that? You guys, Ward Radio? I don't know. I heard
something about it.
I heard a few places that Second Nephi was the tough one.
Yeah, it's kind of a running Mormon joke.
Yeah, I mean, I think I sent in that joke of the thing of like a soldier got shot and the bullet didn't go through the Book of Mormon because it couldn't get through Second Nephi or something.
I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. But years and years ago, I watched just like a movie review of the Book of Mormon movie that came out, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. Remember that guy like had like plans to make a 9-part series of the entire Book of Mormon?
Oh yeah.
And it was a movie review, and it was just a straight up movie review. Like, it was by some guy who didn't have any, didn't care about the religious aspect of it all. And he just reviewed it from like a story standpoint. And I just remember being struck by like it really exposes the issues with that book when you actually try to like make an entertaining film out of it. Because like the story is a mess.
Oh, it's terrible. I watched it on my mission because like one of my companions. Yeah, it's because I was on my mission in like 2010, and one of my companions was like, "Have you seen the Book of Mormon movie?" I was like, "No." And he's like, "Dude, it's really, really freaking good." And I already knew it wasn't. Like in my head, I was, "There's no way. I've never seen a good religious movie or like explicitly." Like, well, there's probably some out there, but it feels to me like Christian movies,
Egypt, Disney, man,
stuff like that. But we watch it, and I was like, "Dude, this is so bad." Like, there's some certain like creative liberties that you have to take in order to explain how things happen. Like, you got to explain how Nephi, after he separated from Laman and Lemuel, how they realized that Laman and Lemuel went insane and feral and like started, I don't know, cannibalistic tribe.
Spoiler alert! What the heck?
It's a spoiler alert, yeah. And
I haven't got there.
It's hilarious because it's just after they separate, the Nephites build this beautiful, majestic culture, and it's Sam, Nephi's brother, is like, "Nephi, I have to know." And so it's Kirby Hayborn plays Sam, and he just goes on this long voyage, and it just happens upon Laman and Lemuel, who are like around a campfire, just going.
Oh, it's Kirby Hayborn.
Yeah,
he's friend of Ward Rio.
I know.
I guess he's in Cardin's Ward or something.
It's pretty bad. One of my favorite parts is they're sitting there when Nephi's trying to build the boat, and like one of the sons of Ishmael goes up to Laman and Lemuel where they're sitting on the beach just fucking off, and they're like, "Hey, Nephi says he's gonna build a boat, and your dad is on board with it, and we're gonna cross the ocean." And Laman just kind of throws his hands in the air, and seriously, this is the actual line of dialogue. He's, "I guess we have to kill father." That's it. And you make fun of it. I made fun of it at the time, but then you're like, wait, that's pretty much what it was, though. Like, that's pretty much what was written. He didn't make anything up there.
And now the thing that just popped into my head now is the Book of Mormon movie and directed and starring Neil Breen. That would be something.
It almost feels like Mormon movies when I watch Neil Breen stuff.
Well, it's just like the main character syndrome.
The main character syndrome, but just the way he talks, like there's staring in between pauses of phrases. Like, "I am strong.
Whoa.
I have come." You know, that's I don't really follow the guy very well, but have you watched an entire Neil Breen movie ever?
I haven't. It's insane how many women want to fuck him, and the only one that he refused to fuck in this movie she was 16, and he's too like he's the moral, he's stalwart. So "I cannot do this. You're underaged. Curse me and my fuckability."
Neil Breen is the only not pedophile in all of entertainment.
Oh my god.
Neil Breen is not. Oh, so we have to stick to Neil Breen movies.
He's the first one.
Oh man, I guess Neil Breen's back on the menu, boys. Next time back, my favorite part of the Book of Mormon is when Nephi gets offended by the women's immodesty in the boat and tells them to get dressed. Troy says 2 Nephi 2 is the chapter that causes headaches for Mormons and evolution. 2 Nephi 2:22 says no death before the fall. Risto, did you pick up that it was Isaiah when you're reading it without checking?
I don't know if I'm to the Isaiah part.
Is it not yet?
I did 2 Nephi 2, and that was like packed full of stuff. My notes are like very long for that chapter. Today I read 2 Nephi 3, so that's as far as I am.
2 porch time babies this week.
Who else had a baby?
Talking about Sean Kerr. I saw something.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I was mentioning earlier about a name that I can't say much about, but
I heard you say that.
Yeah,
and I was like, I thought you were talking about me for a second. I was like,
what's your kid's name?
I didn't know Oliver was a temple name.
No, it's a different name. But there's 2 porch time babies. So yeah, congratulations, Sean Kerr, out there. If you hear us, I also see Sean Kerr shooting guns that look really cool on there.
It also sucks because it sucks. I think here's a real male privilege is that there's a lot cooler biblical male names than female names. I remember my mom being like, it's a fucking ripoff. I got the name Hagar. That's such an ugly name. I was like, yeah, and it was also a
That was your name?
concubine.
That's sweet. Sorry, that sound is my dog chewing on some cardboard back there, and he's the real Huckleberry. I've been listening to Tom Sawyer and the Huckleberry and Tom Sawyer parts, which has all sorts of funny incantations that they do because they believe all these wild things. But I keep hearing Nick Offerman, who was the one reading it, dropping N-words all through it. Should he have been canceled for that? Like,
for sure.
Because Reese still shared with us his Kamala song that he put out that I never saw back in the. I can't believe I didn't see that at the time.
Holy shit! I think there was just such a bottleneck of cringe going on during that like there's no possible way. Well, like 10 years from now, we'll see the cringiest thing in the world that happened during that, and we'll be like, oh fuck, we missed that one too.
The thing is, like, I wonder if lefty types like ever feel this, but like. That guy's hard left, like Jeff Tweedy is hard left and all that sorts of stuff. And I can't judge my guys for their cringe politics stuff. I still like their work stuff when they do work. Like I like Nick Offerman reading Tom Sawyer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, but it's like, how could you got to be able to recognize cringe. Like, I don't know how.
Oh yeah.
There's so many lefties that can't do it because like I recognize the cringe of Tom McDonald.
Oh yeah,
like Kid Rock, and there's a lot of cringe shit that people in the
what I'm saying is more on that side is like I have to dislike everything this person ever did anymore because they take it at a political side or something like that. And the only person who's ever gotten close to that to me, not all the way, but is Colbert. And Colbert just got announced he's been fired.
Oh no!
It's funny that they
say got worse though.
Yeah, that's true. Like he was funnier when he was putting on a character than when it was just actually him. But no, I mean I don't ever feel that way all the way about somebody, but I mean, that's just kind of getting into where we're seeing some people really go down the Trump despair this week.
Whoa, twinsies, Charles Wagner.
Oh, Phoebe. Wow, that means you went in on the same day, right?
That's all it means.
Smelly cat. He says, whenever I go to temple, I sing Smelly Cat. She punches hard, but I can't help myself. And she still goes to the temple. Oh, man. Smelly Cat for the non-Friends watcher. That's
I was just thinking of the insufferable Friends character.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Smelly Cat? Oh, okay.
She sings Smelly Cat. Yeah, Phoebe on Friends sings that. Oh. Replacement rate achieved. Oh, wait, you passed 2.1 kids.
Past 2.1, yep.
Yeah, you're 0.9 replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. You're making up for me now.
How many are you going? How many are you doing?
You got to get to 4.2.
I don't know. I want 4. That's my number, but we'll see.
You got to get 4.2 to make up for me, and actually, if you're gonna make up for Flip too,
you have to keep going until you get a girl. Otherwise,
I'll keep going until I get a girl. I want a girl.
We know if he starts praying the rosary, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot.
Risto's got 4.
4.
So we can count those together. So, our rate is lagging behind. Who's holding this up? Who's holding this gene pool up? Right here.
Well, and our oldest is now heading out of the house, right? She's at that age.
Whoa.
So she's off at camp this summer. And then our second oldest, our next 2 are driving. So our second oldest, I think she was gone for a few days or something. And we were at home with like 2 or 1. And Julie and I were both like, maybe we should have had more. As they start to leave the house, it starts to feel kind of empty.
Don't worry, I'm an evangelizer at this point of pronatalism. I was talking to
you need to evangelize to the women's I date because they're the ones who are always like out of it nowadays.
I know. See, I was talking to our nurse and she's like doing the vitals of our kid and she's like, I'm not sure if I want to have kids. I was like, oh yeah. And I told her the whole story about how like Morgan talked me into having kids, and then I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I got to keep doing that." I'm a missionary at this point.
I think there's something a little bit extra about that, like get into my woo brain, maybe pragmatic brain, maybe who knows what, evolutionary brain, I don't know what. But there's something about a relationship that I don't think it lasts too hard or well if it doesn't kind of have the kid thing in there a little bit. Like it feels like there's something that kind of tends to be like, well, I guess we're not procreating. It even happens down at like the bones level. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Maybe that's my little esoteric hunch of the day. Anyway,
You think maybe especially for women?
Yeah, like something's just kind of like, well, I guess we're not that, so we're something else now. We're roommates. You know, something kind of twists a couple years in, and that's what seems to go down. You know, maybe it's evolutionary, maybe it's spiritual, maybe it's a bunch of woo I'm making up out of nowhere. Anyway, I still got a chance. Cormac McCarthy had a kid when he was older because he was a pedo. He did not have a kid because he was a pedo, but it did come out that he was writing.
Oh my god! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Well, this is the one thing that seems different because I'm like looking around and everybody out there. Bill Reel and RFM did an episode this week on how could Doge's me do this type stuff again. Then he posted in Thoughtful Faith, and of course, a bunch of them answer like, "Well, aren't you guys pro queer theory?" And which I don't know that they are or not, but they aren't going to say something about it. But they're brave to say something about the Joseph Smith 100 years ago doing something. But you got all these people into politics like both ways. It's kind of like everybody is flexing hard about the pedos that they stand against, but does everybody turn a blind eye a little bit against the pedo they don't want to you know? And Tim what's his name? The comedian had that. Did you guys watch his little rant on it?
Tim Minchin?
No, Tim. It was linked in the things.
Timmer.
Did you ever hear that? Isn't that way before your time?
Timmy?
Yeah, the Timmy tapes.
Oh
no, Timmy. I'm thinking of Jimmy. Like in the 80s, there were these tapes that went around. That was something like Jimmy or Timmy. Like
Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon. That's who it is. Where'd it go? Is it?
Riso's Googling Akira Kurosawa pedo.
Oh no. No. Wait, there is one we don't want to know.
We don't want to know.
Miyazaki or
really when you're talking about I had the thought of like if there was like some kind of reverse rapture where only the pedos were taken off of the earth and like planes are falling out of the sky and the traffic lights stop working and
oh man, I forgot the Surfs had that whole debate this week even. Oh my goodness.
A couple of guys are arresting a serial rapist, but the police just poof out of existence.
I think you're safe on Kurosawa there, Reese, though. The Japanese are sexually fucked up, but in the exact opposite direction. They just watch messed up things and jerk off and never breed.
Yeah. Here, let me share this.
Well, I forget those vibes from Kurosawa or Mifune.
Probably not. As a little bit after his time.
What was
hentai?
Oh.
and these news. What is happening here? I mean, what's going on? Everyone keeps saying this is a Mossad op, and we're covering it up to protect Israel. This is what everyone keeps saying. Not in the Hamptons. No one's saying that in the Hamptons. Here's what they're saying in the Hamptons about this whole thing. It's actually very interesting. And I want you to listen closely. This is exactly what they're saying in the Hamptons about this entire thing. So that's a prevailing opinion out there. Mossad and CIA and that they're shutting it down, or the people in the White House are implicated. I'm taking another path. I'm going, whatever. It's time to live in it's just like what I just gave the people advice to, like the people, it's late at night, but the people that I just gave advice to about the house slave and everything, the way that you, the composure that you should have in someone's home. I'm giving advice to people now that live in this country. Choose the pedophile you agree with. Who's the pedophile whose values are yours? Who is the pedophile who has a pro-business attitude? Is there a pedophile who cares about the climate? Is it who wants better schools? Probably all of them. What pedophile has
Probably
the
all of
point
them.
that you align with? What pedophile believes in infrastructure? Who is the pedophile that's going to keep us out of costly foreign wars? Who is the pedophile who's going to make sure your children have a shot at the American dream? You cannot ask that they don't fuck kids. You cannot ask that. It's a bridge too far. Stop being greedy. Who is the pedophile that when they speak, you go, man, I relate to that guy. Not on everything. Not on everything. Not on everything. Not on the having sex with kids, which I'm sure he does because all of them do. But God, do I relate to the point he made about tech or whatever? I don't know, but that's the thing now. You just have to go with the pedophile who makes the most sense to you personally. You can argue with your wife about it. It's not going to be easy. John, he's a pedophile. Honey, listen. Our taxes have been going up year after year. It's hard to pay the rent. Don't you want to own a fucking house? Johnny has sex with children. Honey, listen to me. I don't agree with everything this man does. John, this isn't about policy. He's a pedophile. Honey, I understand your concerns, but I work all goddamn week and I can't get ahead. And they're all pedophiles. I want this pedophile. He's going to be good for us, honey. He understands that a man like me needs to get his beak wet with money, not with children, with money. I want the beak wet with money. You'll have to clarify that. Me and this guy, we don't get it all. Some of it I don't understand what he's doing, but I know, honey, has sex with children on an island or, I don't know, is somewhere, and he throws them into a furnace afterwards. And I don't agree with any of that. But that tax cut could be the down payment on our first home. Don't you want a home so that our kids can play in the yard? That pedophile is going to do that for us. We need a pedophile who's on our side. When do we get a pedophile who's on our side in this country, honey? A pedophile who's not going to get us into wars. What about a pedophile for peace? A pedophile for peace.
I feel like he's describing evangelicals with Trump right there.
Well, I feel like it's one of those universal digs a little bit. Right?
Yeah, the South Park dudes really undersold it on the giant douche versus turd sandwich.
It's giant pedo douche and giant pedo turd sandwich.
Vote for the lesser evil pedophile.
Those tapes, he goes, so what, boys? So what? You got me fucking a bunch of kids on an island. But guess what? This war's not in our interests. Honey, it took a lot for that man. And then the women will start to get it too. They'll be like, I got to be honest with you. I really didn't like, and they'll say this in town halls. They'll be like, I just want to say that I really judged you just because you're a pedophile. But when those videos came out of you having sex with those children and then murdering them, and then you still didn't send my son into war, you kept your pledge and promise for peace. I said, you know what? You might be a pedophile, but you've saved a lot of lives, and everyone's going to clap. And they're going to go, that's a pedophile for peace. Finally. This is going to be the new campaign ad. You can't blackmail me. I'm a pedophile for peace. Sure, a couple of videos came out of me having sex with a mask on in a barn with a couple of younger women of questionable age. But I didn't shrink when I was blackmailed by the Mossad. I didn't shrink. I didn't send our brave men and women into war. I sat there and let them release video after video of me violently assaulting children. Well, I'm not going to put my country in harm's way. I won't do it. I'm making investments in the future of this country. Sure, I'm a pedophile, but I'm a pedophile for peace. These war-torn pedophiles want to sacrifice your children. I just want to have sex with them. I'm a pedophile for peace. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Start a movement called Pedos for Peace. Like, make shirts and shit.
So Kira Kurosawa's, so that's our one thing. I saw Tim Dillon. Yeah, Casey's the first one I saw mention it, and I saw the video afterwards. Yeah, that cracked me up, and that's exactly right. Because it feels like, I mean, I see all these people like saying, "Our country's going to hell. Our president was friends with Jeffrey Epstein." And
what are you talking about?
Nobody. I haven't seen that. And anyway, I'm like, Bill Clinton was our president 30 years ago. Like, how are we going to hell? Like, he was going to Peeeeedo Island 30 years ago. We've been in hell, if anything.
You really gotta make a judgment call on like what's the framework under which we're working, because we can't do we can't vote for the zero pedo guy because there's none of them. There's no zero pedo guys out there. So are we going with the framework of the least pedo-y guy? Like, would these people, if they found out that Trump only raped one girl, like, yeah, versus like Biden's 60, like, would they vote Trump?
Or the number of victims, like,
because they hate Trump enough, they would be like, no, so it wouldn't be numbers thing. So I think Tim Dillon's right. It's just we got to choose the pedophile.
That thing is like, is it like if it was like 50 17-year-olds, is that as bad as one 5-year-old?
There's
Like,
probably
you
an
have to be like-
algorithm out there somewhere.
Now we're in like the 20 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck. What if you were a pedo to one horse-sized kid or 20 kid-sized horses?
Well, it's going to turn into the ducks and horses. That's what's after the pedo thing is.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't do slippery slope fallacies. Did you not watch our episode on fallacies?
We beat fallacies. We beat them.
We actually did, yeah.
Jank Uger just said, I don't know. I think I'm going to be having to come in and out of pedo stuff all night because that's how our country is. So I don't want to stick to pedo stuff, but I don't want to say that I've completed the pedo coverage. But Jank here says, an astounding 83% of Republican voters disagree with Trump about Epstein files. They say the files should be released, even more than 79% national average. 59% of his own voters say Trump administration is covering up evidence. If you thought no Trump voter would ever disagree with him, can you be honest enough to admit you were wrong? Especially when it's now so obvious that they did. You can't ask for more disagreement than this. Here's why it matters. If you don't have honest conversation with voters, they don't trust you. I mean, I can't believe like I'm believing or agreeing with Junk.
Of course.
But I mean, I just think the whole thing just goes to show, like it wasn't the vaccine stuff. Like Trump's, I think there is some Trump sycophancy in the world, and obviously, like there's everything. Just like Scott and Adam says, there's 25% of idiots for anything. Yeah. But
I mean, the thing when people complain about Trump sycophants, like assholes, I remember the Obama years. Like you guys absolutely went bonkers for Obama, and like he was some kind of super world-saving saint, and you were jackasses.
Yeah. Anyway, I have the video. One of the reasons we had Reese still here is we wanted his take. Well, Reese was always welcome, number one. But we particularly asked him, we didn't know if we were getting Jared or not, if he wanted to give us his take so far on how he likes the Book of Mormon, his heliocentric, that's the guy who just reviewed the Book of Mormon. Maybe I'll pull that up just to show which one it is. Take so far on the first couple books of the Book of Mormon as I forget what your original religion was, and then later Aristo gave us a test on the Mennonites this week, and we all got perfect answers on it. And no, you asked about the Anabaptists. I didn't say Mennonite.
Yeah, they're just they're sub Anabaptists.
Sub Anabaptists.
So yeah.
I got one answer right just because I knew about Lawrence Welk.
Nuh-uh.
Yes. Yeah, because you know how Lawrence Welk had that accent? Even though he was born and raised in the United States of America, he talked like a German guy.
Pennsylvania.
Because he was a Hutterite. No, from
he was Hutterite.
Yeah, he was a Hutterite. So he was from like.
And it said the Hutterites in there. I mean, I'd heard of them before.
Yeah, they were communal, right?
Yeah.
So were you part of that growing up?
No, I was just evangelical. I was just evangelical.
But I thought you had like a weird version that like had no drinking and stuff. That's not the typical evangelical.
Yeah, Nazarene. So that's part of the holiness movement, which is kind of used to be kind of Pentecostal and a little bit Methodisty, and no alcohol, no tobacco, no dancing for us.
I thought Methodists, because I heard that joke that what's the difference between a Baptist and a Methodist? A Methodist will say hello to you in the liquor store.
Yeah, so we weren't Methodists, but shared some things with them, but not that, obviously.
So what's your take so far on the Book of Mormon? What's your heliocentric take? Well, I guess you could make like a whole viral video about this if you want.
I figured I should, so I got myself a copy.
Uh-huh.
Did you call up the phone number on TV and the missionaries brought it to you?
No, I've got one of those back there somewhere. But I wanted to get, this one's from, I don't know what year this is from, 1984. And it's addressed to, this is kind of weird, to Sister Dorothy Day.
Dottie Day.
The Dorothy Day?
I don't think so. I mean, that would be crazy if it was.
That'd be worth something maybe.
Right. So, but my plan is,
Wait, is
and
that a
I
real
am
person?
Yeah.
is Catholic. Yeah. Did she ever live in Utah, or
I don't know.
it's from
Socialist, anarchist, Catholic, anarchist. If that's actually her book, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's the from what Elder and Sister. I don't know if you recognize that. Do you know them? You
Yeah.
guys were Mormon, right? Do you know?
Do they have like Scandinavian names?
No. Mahan.
Mon. I do know a Mon. Maugh. Yeah, Mon. I
Maughan.
grew up with the Mons.
Oh,
I
ask
had
them if they knew Dorothy
one.
Day.
One of my mission companions was a Mon.
It doesn't have the first name.
No, it just says Elder and Sister Mon, and it's May 10th. When did Dorothy Day die? This is 1985.
Didn't she die after or before 85? She
80.
died in 1980.
Okay, so
It's
no.
look from the past to the future.
Oh.
So I'm reading through all the LDS scriptures. And so I've read the book of Moses, the book of Abraham.
So you're going backward. You're going from the small ones to the big one.
Well, I was kind of trying to do chronological, but it's not going to be completely chronological. So I started with the Genesis stuff. Like,
oh, not in the chronological in the order it was pumped out by Joseph.
Right.
Mm.
So now I read First Nephi, and now I'm in Second Nephi. Yeah, it's I pretty much agreed with Jared's take.
That's the heliocentric dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of I just read Second Nephi 3, and there was one phrase Joseph would just get stuck on these phrases.
And it came to pass. You mean? Is that what you're
no,
saying?
not in Second Nephi 3. It was fruit of thy loins.
Ah, you're thinking about loins at the time.
Over and over and over. But some of the chapters, like the vision in First Nephi of the tree and the great building and the rod, I felt that obviously I was like, well, that has a lot of meaning, and I think he revisits it a few times in First Nephi.
Well, it's Nephi has the vision. So
Okay.
Nephi has it first, and then Nephi prays to have it as well. So I think they might have it actually written out twice. Maybe they didn't. I can't remember if it's been a long time.
They talk about it. Yeah, they talk about it a few times.
Yeah.
And then Second Nephi 2 has super doctrinal. It has tons of stuff in there.
There's some cool stories. Ones like Alma is a cool story. Alma the Younger, pretty cool story. The Sons of Helaman. There's a lot of cool-ish stories in there, but
I think the most surprising thing for me was how I've heard people say the Book of Mormon is the most Christian book ever written.
Just because they say Jesus a lot?
Well, even more so than the Bible, because it has more theology, and it kind of makes sense now that I'm reading through it, because you've got in Genesis, you have people being baptized and talking about Jesus and the gospel, and it's all of Christianity existed back in the Genesis time frame, and even in Nephi's time.
Well, yeah, most of the Book of Mormon takes place before Christ,
right?
But still uses very Christian language.
Yep. And then in what was it, Second Nephi 3 today that I read, it was the prophecies about Joseph Smith, where it's there'll be a Joseph and his father's name will be Joseph, and it's just
they're Calvinists now. They just we're predestined to have a Joseph. It's none of it. There's no free will.
So we'll see. I've got a long way to go, and I look forward to reading actually Doctrine and Covenants probably the most. And I plan on reading. What was there was some that they took out of the LDS scriptures, right? Was it something on faith? It was the
lectures on faith.
Yeah, I think so. That was and I heard that was actually the doctrine part of the Doctrine and Covenants.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I don't know.
Well, that's another thing that makes this all even more confusing is that, like, because supposedly anything that the leadership says in an official capacity counts as scripture. Like, do you guys remember hearing that? Like, ensign articles written by general authorities count as scripture.
That's what I was taught growing up, but I'm sure the
Yeah.
apologist would tell you that's a misconception of your average lay member or whatever.
Well,
but
that was one of the things. You remember when I showed you that they were, I don't know if Forrest is around tonight, but they were making fun of him because he misspelled canon. But he
Oh, yeah.
was asking that philosopher dude, what's canon or not? Because if this is canon, this isn't canon. And the guy was saying, well, people's what they speak from the pulpit and like what those people say, that can be canon, that can be scripture. And so Forrest is asking that, and then instead of answering,
they made fun of him for misspelling.
they go to the So that's why I was saying, like, your pedantry is like a way to just dodge the question entirely.
That tired old misspelling, that's been debunked years ago.
Yeah.
But there are some parts that are, I mean, I really did agree with Jared. It's kind of boring and not like, I mean, there's parts of the Bible that are boring, for sure.
And
But-
hell.
But it kind of like it drags. It really drags. It's like it's a story. It's just like there's chapters where hardly anything happens the whole chapter. I think
No, like, if you imagine some guy with his face in a hat just stalling, like,
And then it came to pass.
So
Yeah.
I had that happen this week where I was like, well, what are the stories I like? And I said, I like Samuel the Lamanite. And so then I looked up the story and read it. And I'm like, I like the story if I tell it in 30 seconds in my head. Like when I read the story, like it was so dragged out and so drawn out. And they do things like, and he did go and preach, and he did go preach well unto the people, and he did go preach well unto the people. I'm like, why would you write the sentences that way? Why would you just keep adding more to the sentence while rewriting the whole sentence?
I don't know. It's probably chiasmus, right?
Oh yeah, chiasmus. Oh yeah, I gotta do a macho man chiasmus. Go ahead. What were you saying?
But I mean, you watch movies like that too, right? Where you're like, you could have told this is 20 minutes dragged out into 2.5 hours.
It was written by the quartering. I keep calling Joseph Smith charismatic, but he was just Jeremy from the quartering.
Oh, I sent you guys a video of Tim Pool that I was dead serious about a few weeks ago. I was like, tell me that you learn anything new after the first 7 seconds. Like, tell me that you did not get the whole entire thing in the first 7 seconds. But in those movies, in a Kurosawa movie, don't you want it to be told 20 minutes longer? That's when it's all beautiful and artsy. You're smelling the roses a bit more or something like that.
Well, I mean, Kurosawa wasn't perfect about that either. Like the second half of High and Low, that kind of drags a little bit.
But I dead serious, and I know a lot of other people are the same. Like Lord of the Rings, man, it's got too much scenery in it. You know, I actually looked it up, and it says it's like 30% scenery.
Have you ever watched the movie Drive?
Yes.
Ryan Gosling.
Everybody loved it.
That movie was huge when I came back, and my real artsy hipster friends told me to watch it, and so I did. I got like autistically angry while watching it because I'm serious. This is one of the conversations. He's talking to the romantic interest for the first time. He's in her apartment. She's like, "So, what do you do?" And he was like, "I drive." And she was like, "Is that dangerous?" And he was like, "It can be." And those pauses, I'm serious. I'm pretty sure that was almost word for word a line. And it was that amount of pause in between. It was like, they're like talking about how raw and real it feels. And that the getaway driving does feel pretty cool and real because he's sneaky instead of like bombastic, like a Fast and Furious type. That's kind of cool. But the dialogue, and I'm like, nobody fucking talks like this.
Yeah. That can get real jarring. Although some movies it can be good if it's kind of intentional. I mean, I watched like a whole review on people, even hipsters, who kind of think not Paul Thomas Anderson. What's the other dude with the really the director with a really, he just barely released a new one with a really kind of Wes Anderson, the Wes Anderson style talking, and even the hipsters are getting sick of him and kind of saying like, I don't think he's really got it anymore. And but the way they talk, it can both be interesting and annoyingly jarring. But
well, and I'm okay with a slow story or even a slow movie. You know, there is something to be said about, or even music, right? Like when you don't have to rush a piece in it, you don't have to fill every second with just constant. Like a song is really good when it could take a little pause or slow down a bit, and the same is true for a movie. So there is a bit of like, well, how much of the boringness is just like our American brain wanting the Avengers 5, or how much of it is sometimes like stuff is, it's just they really are stretching stuff out because they don't have anything to say.
No, it feels like a lot of the Book of Mormon feels like a high school kid trying to write a mandatory word count, and he's like, I can double space it, right?
so okay, so I'm gonna pull this up. We were dickheads and we started like playing with ChatGPT and saying like, how fast could you tell the Helaman story? Not the it's in Helaman, the Samuel the Lamanite story. And really, when I stopped and thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute, why did I think this was a good story? The story is basically this guy went and street preached. The end. You know,
yeah, well,
that's really
a whole like there's like a whole faith thing to it where it's like he's so faithful that he does it and it's like a flipping the narrative on its head. Be like, you think these guys are the bad, kind of like a Good Samaritan thing. You think these guys are the bad guys, but this is who you think is a bad guy being way better than you, and he's so faithful, and it's this grand thing where he's standing up on the wall and it's clear to you that he doesn't care if he dies, he's going to do it anyway, but God protects him. So that's kind of cool. It's a grandiose story. It's just once you get into this,
Jared added all the flowery stuff to it.
No, I told you all the flowery things. That was it. That was all the flowery things, and then the rest of it is, and he went and preached, and he preached well, and he did
preached hard, and he preached mighty, and he preached death and fire and brimstone, and he preached that it would go bad for them, and he preached that again, and he said it again, and he did preach it hard, and but yeah, and then there's the stuff that they threw the things up there, but we asked ChatGPT to cut it way down and see what it said, and it was only half of it because I only like the chapter's so long, and it says all right, here's a stripped down detailed. I said tell it like a person who doesn't have time for the details and is maybe autistic. It says, all right, here's a stripped down, detailed, light, straight to the point version, like someone who's efficient and maybe a little blunt. Year 86, Nephites are still super wicked. Lamanites surprisingly are following God. Samuel Lamanite goes to Zarahemla to preach repentance. He does it for days. They throw him out. He starts going home. God tells him to go back and say whatever God puts in his heart. They won't let him back in, so he climbs the wall and starts shouting his message. He says they're in big trouble. Destruction is coming in less than 400 years unless they repent and believe in Jesus Christ. An angel told him he tried to share the good news, but they wouldn't listen. Now God says if they don't repent, he's done with them. He'll take away his spirit and let the enemies turn on them. That's it. Instead, it wrote, that's it. And, I would have liked to have read it like that a little bit better, but maybe that's just me. But it's a long chapter. I hadn't read it in years, and it just kind of goes and does do that stuff of saying, it really says, he came into the land of Zarahemla, and he began to preach unto the people, and it came to pass that he did preach many days repentance unto the people. And I asked ChatGPT to like just shorten that down. It says he entered Zarahemla and preached repentance to the people for many days. And I would think that would be kind of how you'd want to chisel it into something, right? If you were the chiseler, but I don't know. Maybe it's pretty.
Well, he climbed. Did it say he climbed the wall?
Did I miss that?
I don't know. I mean, you said that. I haven't gotten to that part yet.
I asked us to sort down this sentence. I came.
That's pretty cool.
I came into the land of Zarahemla and began to preach unto the people, and it came to pass that he did preach many days repentance unto the people. And I just to shorten it down and have all the same info. That's he entered Zarahemla and preached repentance to the people for many days.
Like, well, would it impact any of the theology if they published like a Reader's Digest condensed version of the Book of Mormon that just cut out all of the repetition and like just like that AI thing did? Because like for one thing, the book would probably be what half as long.
Yeah,
if you
totally would, and then
probably be a lot easier.
What was really funny is Marty said you could make anything sound stupid if you took that stuff out. like put in your favorite movie in there and see what happens. And so I did put in my favorite movie, which is Unforgiven, in there. And the very first line was, 2 cowboys killed a hooker. Then the other cowboys wanted to kill the other hooker. And I was like, nope, pretty good. I'm in, you know. And but I don't know. I dropped the Macho Man Randy Savage thing earlier because these guys get into. Well, I guess we should start listening to them a little bit. But they were very, very perplexed that they called it boring and felt that he was maybe missing out on the ability to.
It reminds me of a movie I've sent. I think I sent you the link in the private chat. It's I don't know if Flip knows this one. It's a movie by James Benning.
I don't know who that is. What is it?
It's called Two Cabins.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You sent it?
It's in the private chat. It's maybe it's
here.
a good illustration of all of this. It's and it's not like you could say, hey, this is meaningful. It shows 2 cabins and they're important cabins. One of them is Thoreau's cabin and the other, I think they're replicas, and the other one is Kaczynski's cabin.
Oh, it's just 15 minutes of a still shot of each interior cabin?
Now you're being picky. Now you're being picky.
It's literally just they just set up a camera pointing outside of the window of a cabin, and then jeez.
Where is it? Why am I not seeing it?
It's in the private chat
our chat here in StreamYard.
In StreamYard private chat.
Oh, StreamYard chat.
Sorry, I used the wrong chat. But I actually do like this movie, even though I haven't watched the whole thing.
I think like if you've seen 15 seconds of it, you've seen everything you're ever going to see of it.
2 cabins, 1 whale.
Well, it does. It does. No, it changes a little bit. Flip. It's the leaves rustle. If you watch,
I'm gonna pull it up here. There was some other.
It's just
like that.
It was just your expectations going in. That was the.
You expected it to be entertaining.
If he'd called it 2 cabins in the woods, he probably could have punked a lot of people out of buying a ticket. Like, oh man, it's the sequel to that great movie.
So this must be Thoreau's. So if you watch, I think you can see stuff moving in the background, right?
I mean, like twigs and stuff, like wind.
Yeah.
No.
Is this gonna have a jump scare? Oh yeah, there's leaves.
See, yeah, I saw a leaf move.
This feels to me like that hilarious dude who just put his sunglasses in the corner of an art gallery and people started asking, what was the artist trying to say with this?
I would liken this to the Book of Mormon. No, I'm just kidding.
Then if you go to the second half, then you get Kaczynski's cabin.
Ted Kaczynski?
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
If you go to the second half, there you go.
Yes.
Chapter 2. Yep.
Oh, it's got sound now.
That's kind of scary, man. I feel like Jason's gonna appear in that one. I do see the thing moving. Very good stuff. So one's like the Old Testament, one's like the New Testament.
See, you're getting the meaning.
One's like a double window stacked on top of each other. The other one's like a single window that opens up.
I'm actually really feeling emotions on this one.
Well,
One brought life, one brought death.
Oh goodness.
Wow.
This one looks like it's some sort of box or something that.
Is Huckleberry eating your wall?
He's eating a cardboard box.
Oh, okay.
It's
He's got to be eating out of eating my feet. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's still more interesting than the Book of Mormon.
Yep. So I went to graduate school in the literature, and that was one of the places that was a little bit eye-opening for me. I left the Mormonism, or started leaving it, before I did any negative research, and part of what did that for me was reading other books and being very, very surprised by how good those writers were. 2 of the big ones I brought up to you before are Gabriel Garcia Marquez, who wrote 100 Years of Solitude at the age of like 20 something, And if you read it, it's a guy who basically kind of retold all of the stories of his parents from his youth, and they're big, wild, long, stretching, twisting stories. It's the book that became famous for the boom in Latin America and all that sort of stuff that comes from a storytelling tradition. So he was telling these out of his brain from stuff that his grandparents, different people were doing. And then this book just kind of came out of him in his 20s. And it's a book that's been studied and studied over and over by all sorts of people, and has all these different lore and different things that come in and out. And it's just an amazing book. And people tie it to concepts of Columbia. They tie it to concepts of anything. You can tie it to anything that makes sense to you because it works like an allegory like that. Or maybe not, just the same way that people do with Lord of the Rings. You know, maybe it's just a story. Maybe it's not an allegory. Maybe it is. The other person was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, 18, 19 years old, comes up with a concept that endures the total test of time. The book just really endures, and like all the form, it was told in like in the form of letters and different things that like have like different ways of being very creative about how you're telling your story. The thing lasted time. She was 18 years old when it came out, but it had the same sort of deal that in both of those situations, it had the same sort of deal of, wait a minute, who are the people around them? Did they get help with this? Lord Byron, Lord Byron and Percy Shelley were around her, very, very famous writers. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, they grew up in an area all sorts full of different writers, stuff like that. And all I'm talking about, nothing is an exact apple for apple, pear for pear, or whatever, but there is people who did very, very impressive works, very, very young, that have long holding meaning, that set entire literature, like Gabriel Garcia Marquez's book set off the entire Latin boom from the 50s on of all Latin literature. And Mary Shelley's Frankenstein holds like people study that for semesters on end at classes and all that sorts of stuff. And they're both interesting. Like they're so good. Like both of them, they're way more interesting than my long rant right there. Like both of them are very, very good stories that will keep you going. And the Book of Mormon bored me to tears my entire life. And these guys were upset that guy said that. And I was never embarrassed about that fact, even when I was younger. I don't know what you guys felt reading it.
I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times I read it all the way through.
I only ever properly read it front to back one time.
Mine's like properly all the way through is at least 3, and then of course with a million times you get stuck reading one chapter or another or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a wife who needs some help with baby, so I'm gonna get out of here.
Nine, you must stay.
Oh, okay. I'll just text her.
Tell her you can't miss the end of the video. We're almost to the door. We're almost to the window part.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't do women shit. So.
Oh. She's making you miss out on the window.
You just have to send her this link. Say, hey, I'm watching this movie right now. I can't come up. It's not over.
She did want to watch a dumb movie tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe I'll put this on.
Yeah, I'll give you $5 if you unironically do it. And don't say anything about it.
I wonder how long it would take.
You can say Risto recommended it.
Yeah.
This is Akira Kurosawa, I think, probably because Risto recommended it. So it's probably, he's the guy who did like the Seven Samurai, all that.
I'm trying to think of the most inappropriate thing to watch, and Train Spotting comes to mind. Have you ever seen Train Spotting?
No.
Oh, no, it's because it's got a whole scene about a dead baby.
That might not. Yeah, maybe.
If you want to do the worst thing ever. People should watch Train Spotting. If you haven't seen Train Spotting, when your baby's grown up a little more and you're not addicted to heroin, watch Train Spotting because it's a classic.
Yeah, once I shake the heroin, I'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see you, nerds. Have fun.
Yeah, Troy's.
With this. Tell me how it ends.
We will.
All right. See ya.
Troy said Mary Shelley's Frankenstein started sci-fi. Yeah, the reason those books are studied, like Frankenstein, there's so many different ways you can take it. You can look at it as like an analog for like the French Revolution. You can look at it as transhumanist stuff, like people trying to overstep the bounds of human nature and that sort of thing. You can just take it as a straight horror story, or you can take it as art. You're somebody who creates art, And what the thing you create is a hodgepodge of all the different things you've learned in the world. You put the thing together and you get done with it and you look at it and go, oh shit, that's ugly. And then it chases you because you can't erase the thing that you made. So like think about somebody who made a one-hit wonder that they're embarrassed of or something like that. Like Frankenstein's kind of like that. You made a piece of art you can't run away from. And under like no corners of the earth that's going to chase you down, and you're going to have to answer for it wherever you go. It has that whole angle on it, and Frankenstein's just so mesmerizing, that concept. I mean, it works just a straight horror. The concepts lasted the test of time. So it's one of my go-to things when people say nobody's done a thing like Joseph. Well, they weren't doing scripture, but in a way they were doing scripture, and they were just as young, and they even got some of the same lore. Who were they around? How did they do this? But it's also kind of, no, we'll just say they did it. Maybe they didn't get help from any of those people, type stuff.
Well, Mitchell says that I don't think the Book of Mormon was written to be entertaining, but I think Jared was right. It feels like you're reading someone's paper who's dragging things out. So I don't think the question is like entertaining or not. It's like, it's when you don't have much meaning, It's
Forrest said he thought it was written to be boring, and that could be fine. It should be boring, but these guys got very, very upset at Heliocentric for calling it boring, and kind of, I think, insulted him for it. And I'm just here to say that I think boring is the honest answer.
Yeah. I mean, also the repetition is really hard to get past. Like, never mind, like if the themes are boring, even if it wasn't, the constant repetition is so hard to take.
So this is what I wanted to get to. I was going to invent a character. They made fun of him for not noticing the chiasmus, right? They popped it up. Maybe I'll pull it up. But I was like, wait a minute, noticing the chiasmus? Like, nobody noticed the chiasmus till some random professor yoinked it out. In fact, we've got a challenge to Risto to see if he can tell us when he comes across it. And but Risto made the point that like there's chiasmus in the Bible he didn't pick up on. But of course the guy's not going to pick up on the chiasmus. Nobody picked up on it. It's kind of teased out in the chapter, and I'm fine if you like want to believe that it's there. I'm also fine if somebody says, I think you kind of teased that out a little bit hard. But anyway, they're saying, well, Joseph Smith couldn't have done a chiasmus. If people don't know listening, I'm sure everybody here knows. It's a type of poem that, or a way of storytelling that preachers use, or whoever. It was an old Hebrew thing is what they're saying, where you tell something and you give like a sentence, second sentence, third sentence, and then you repeat the third sentence, second sentence, first sentence. And it was so supposedly like a crazy thing. There's no way Joseph Smith could have done that. And so then out of nowhere, I invented a character this week, and I said, I bet you Macho Man Randy Savage in his 1980s wrestling promos did chiasmus all the time. I bet you if I went back and like pulled up a bunch of his things, there'd be a chiasmus. And so I pulled up a thing of Macho Chiasmus, my chiasmus man, Randy Savage. Oh yeah, the cream rises when the man stirs. Yeah, I bring the chaos, and the chaos brings the gold. Oh yeah, snap into the top because the top snaps into me. I snap into the top, it snaps into me. Oh, I bring the chaos, and the chaos brings gold. The cream rises, and the madness stirs. Oh, yeah. Just chiasmus. There's a chiasmus right there. But I don't know if... I bet you if I had ChatGPT go through stuff, it probably came out.
And I don't think Word Radio did a very good job responding to him. Of course he missed a ton of stuff. He says it's just his initial reading going into it. But I think it's important to, especially if you're an apologist for an idea, religion, a sport, whatever the thing is, like you need to be honest about stuff. Like I'm an apologist for Finnish sauna. When people get into it, I'm not like, it's not going to be that hot. It won't be uncomfortable. Like, I'm just honest with people. It's going to be hot. Your brain's going to be like, get me out of here. But then it's just like, you just learn to relax into it. Like, but you have to be honest with people. So if Jared's watching that Ward Radio video, like it plays well
they got pleasant by the end
to their crowd, but anyone that's not part of their crowd, If you're someone like me reading the Book of Mormon, it's like, come on, guys, like at least be honest.
So it's really just in the first half where they come out hard. And maybe it's Cardin coming out hard. And one of the things that over the years I was saying to you guys, like I've been overly charitable to Cardin over the years, and he's just not charitable at all to non-believers at all. And I'm about fed up with it. But that they go hard at him in the first half. Jacob's kind of telling him to like back off it a little bit, or but then by the end they're saying they're inviting him on a cruise. But I think some of the first half is stuff it's so ridiculous. Just the being upset that he did not. I don't know why it jarred me so much. It's jarring that people are upset that you didn't like something on that level, like on the aesthetic level of something. Well, and they're calling you stupid for it.
They don't even like it on that level, Yeah. And I think they also criticized him for thinking the sacrament meeting was boring. It's like, come on, people. Like I've visited sacrament meetings and even my church meetings that I grew up in, it's like you can just tell people are finding this boring. That's not like it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be there, but you should be honest about it.
Not just being honest about it.
Go ahead. It cracked me up when they're like, well, wait till this guy goes to conference. It's like, you guys can't be serious.
Conference. Have you sat through a conference, Risto?
I've watched a few talks that were shared with me. Actually, some talks I really enjoyed.
I think I would rather raw dog it to Singapore than to actually sit through another conference.
but I was specifically sent like these like good ones. I think Jared even sent me one and I did like it. And I enjoy listening to Elder Holland, Jeffrey R. Holland. I think he's kind of funny. The music. I
don't know if they'd like the word funny.
Well, no, funny in a good sense.
Like he's trying to be funny.
No, he's comical. Yeah.
I thought you were laughing at him.
No. I chuckled at what he said. I like listening to him. But and then I really enjoyed the Tabernacle Choir. I thought that was pretty awesome. But sometimes, like the way that people talk about it, it makes me in the LDS world, it makes me think you haven't spent much time listening to any other sermons or talks or anything, because they'll point to like prophetic, like profound things as being like proclamation of the family or, this conference talk or this other conference talk. And it's like, you should get out there and like listen to the broader Christian world. That there's nothing that special about those conference talks. That's not saying like they're bad or that there's not anything meaningful there, but they're really not anything different. If you go to like Southern Baptist Conference and listen to whatever their talks are, it's probably going to be pretty similar.
Did you guys watch that organ player that I sent you that was showing how to give organ lessons around speech? Did you guys watch that one?
No.
I'll pull it up here in a second. Well, if you want to see something that looks like it's would make it exciting, you got to watch that guy talk. But first, let's start this for a little bit, and then I think it's really just kind of in the first little bit that they.
I remember because on my mission I had to watch all the conferences when I was a missionary. Mm-hmm. So what is that? 4 complete conferences, 10 hours of each one or whatever, and I literally remember one talk. And it was David B. Haight when he was almost dead, and he was an old man, and they let him off the leash. And his talk was just, isn't music nice? Singing is fun. And that's literally the only conference talk I have any memory of whatsoever from all of my mission when I sat through them all. Like, and even childhood, like nothing sticks out. Whereas like I remember the first time I saw certain Simpsons episodes, like because they just stuck in my brain so thoroughly, and yet literally the only conference talk I can remember is David B. Haight. Music is nice.
Well, and 2 things can be true, right? Like you can have the bulk of something be boring and kind of meaningless, people just going through the motions, and then have the occasional meaningful thing, So like that 2 cabins video we watched from James Benning, it's interesting to see from outside of Thoreau's window. Like there is something meaningful there. or to
Yeah.
see from outside of Kaczynski's window and to think about, oh, what, like, if you told me that's boring and my response was, oh, you didn't consider what Kaczynski was experiencing. And it's like both
I
are
didn't even think about that. I've actually even read Kaczynski and read Thoreau, and I wasn't sitting there thinking about that. I should have been thinking about those.
I think it's true for the Book of Mormon, right? It can be like kind of dragged out and boring, but also it could have some meaningful things there too. So
I felt I was blasphemous with Henry David Thoreau because I listened to his stuff when I was on a gym treadmill, and it's all about how you're supposed to get in nature, go experience nature and stuff like that. I felt like I was blaspheming it. Listen to this dude. Like,
I'm gonna start a sermon, and within the first maybe 10 minutes or so, I'm gonna get to what's up, man? To a soft peak. Y'all know what I hate? When the musician starts playing right here. Yeah. Because you just now rush the rest of my song.
Yeah.
Yep. So what you got to do?
These are a bunch of piano players talking about how to make the church sermon better.
Allow the preacher.
Well, I love the way you did that.
When the crowd.
And I can't tell if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's definitely to make it less boring, but like they talk about how to become a paid musician and stuff, but then listen to how much the guy shreds.
Folks, you know how preachers can get all revved up. 25 people, and folks are going off, and you sit right there.
That's right.
Because I've studied this preacher enough.
Yes, sir.
I haven't. I'm sensitive enough to the Spirit of God and to the flow of that moment that I ain't trying to do. Now, so here's what I do. And more accurately, let me do this.
Right, there you go.
This is my first point.
Yeah.
On my first point, what I want the musician to do, I'm going to just pick a key. They say the preacher's key is E flat. I like that tonight. Let's do that.
reach it.
Now, this is me. I'm going to show you everything I do. This is the new B3. So you know they have the presets down bottom, but you can control the bass.
It's so funny to me because it's like it's so technical about making it interesting, but is it also it's going to make it more interesting than a Mormon church, that's for sure. But then is there also something cynical about it?
Well, but is it also meaningful, right? Is this the Marvel movie version of sermon?
Yeah.
You know, because there's stuff that's meaningful. Like I would encourage people like go listen to Francis Chan. Like even if you disagree with him, like he's a sincere, honest guy. He's a good communicator, talking about I think meaningful things. Jordan Peterson, right? That's how he got to be so popular. Is he's saying stuff that was meaningful that people could like put into action in their lives. And he's not like his old lectures aren't the most exciting thing in the world.
Yeah. I'm not gonna watch this whole thing, but I can't really fast forward. But you got to see how much this guy shreds. He shreds so hard.
First thing I do is I turn the bass back. Yep. And if I have to, I'll adjust the bass here.
Yeah.
So that I can get a nice even flow. And for me, I turn the overdrive either off or just a little bit.
He's so technical about it.
Right.
I don't want it too crunchy to where you can't hit it. So let's say, and again, my influence is Marcus Dawson.
Yeah.
If you want to learn Marcus Dawson, you got to listen to
Jay.
Jay.
Yes, sir.
Marcus is the king of, I don't care how much preaching and shout was going on. If it's the first point, he's going to do crazy stuff. He's going to turn his percussion on. That's what I'm learning to do. And mind you, speed is my trick. So I ain't trying to do all them chords where my hand is turned all up. I'm just going to play with the preacher. You know?
That's how you do it.
It's so crazy. But that would make church less boring. But
Yeah.
I have that link. I'll put it in the links.
Well, and I feel like boring is the wrong word. Because sometimes boring can be our fault. I went to a Lutheran Good Friday service this past year. And you know, they're super like liturgical, like what people that I grew up with kind of view liturgical stuff as kind of like going through the motions or empty. But it was cool, like on Good Friday, so they have like it's kind of a longer service, but they go through like this set of readings and songs, and then they after each set they turn off some of the lights. and then they put out some candles in the front. So eventually you get down to the end, there's only one candle. There's only one candle lit in the front, and then so this is all slow. This is all, this is all boring. But then they take the candle out of the sanctuary, and then they do a giant like thunder crash sound. Like it made a baby start screaming in front of me. It was so loud. And then they bring the candle back. I can't remember if they do a prayer, but then just everyone just kind of left silently. No one talked to each other, nothing. And I was like that was meaningful. Like there was tons of like symbolism, even though it wasn't exciting. There was tons of like symbolism and everything with it.
Isn't there some social science too that says different people who have like upbringings in churches that do require them to learn to sit through stuff a bit more, have more success in some sort of way? Isn't there something? I think I saw some.
I mean, it's definitely a kind of discipline, for sure.
Yeah, I'll look that up after we.
Well, I have to confess, I don't know if you guys ever did this. I'm going to confess something inappropriate that I did in church growing up. Is we would, I don't know who. I don't think I came up with this. Someone told me this, and I almost got in trouble for doing this. We would sit in church, and we had the hymnal, and we were bored out of our mind. And someone had told us put under the sheets after the hymn title, the hymn name.
Yeah, we would do it in the bathtub or something.
Okay,
like
so
we all did those.
I was like busting out laughing. I almost got in trouble. I had to leave because of that.
Yeah, we totally did that. I mean, I think that's kind of like well known as a meme around Mormons to sit around and do that one, put in the bathtub or in bed or something like that.
Because our church meetings in the 80s were very similar to sacrament meetings.
Yeah. Man, I got so bored of that stuff. And you want to know what? Because these guys brought up like Mark Twain, I guess it was brought up that Mark Twain called the Book of Mormon Chloroform In Print, which is what we called this here tonight, which I always thought was funny when I first heard that years ago. And then he talks about all the different ways, just like this heliocentric guy does, that it just says, and it came to pass, and it came to pass, and it came to pass. And if you took those out, it'd just be a pamphlet or something like that. But I've been listening to Tom Sawyer on top of that to see if I could be like, well, sometimes you, Tom Sawyer, you, Mark Twain, you get boring too. I haven't gotten bored yet. But what's funny about it is, you want to know what so much of Tom Sawyer is about? It's really about all the times when you're supposed to be stuck sitting as a kid, and you're not supposed to be, you're not supposed to be wriggling with the bug, and you're not supposed to be playing with the bug and wriggling with the bug and playing for fun and picking and poking on the girl with the hair and all that sorts of stuff. And I'm like, would this even play for Gen Z kids nowadays? There's this thing been going around TikTok just this week called the Gen Z stare. Have you heard about this?
No.
The Gen Z stare, which I think is actually kind of true. They're all saying, dang, I see if I pull that one up later too, but that if you go and talk to kids of a certain age, they just stare back at you. They don't interact well. They just like freeze up and stare at you. And I've come across that. And it's like a major thing on TikTok this week, the Gen Z stare. But I wonder if like that generation that's had like every little screen and thing to click on, like, you guys didn't get to Tom Sawyer it up. Like, Tom Sawyer is about those moments in the church house or those moments in school where you got nothing to do but stare at the wall and stare at the clock and mess with the chick next to you or something like that. Which is kind of crazy. That all kind of ties it together. But and I got a little video of a creepy, well, the picture was a creepy Mark Twain claymation.
Like, the overwhelming, like, if you think back to your career in church, the overwhelming thing was boredom, right? Like, because that's the stuff, like, when I think about church, I think about that itchy wall carpet, leaning my chair back into the...
I would hold my breath to see how long I could hold my breath. I'd see it.
I remember watching the clock. I remember, like, counting the tiles on the ceiling. You know, like, geez.
Yeah. Here's the Gen Z stare thing.
Maybe you've experienced it. Andy is here to explain.
Yeah, the trend is recreating this sort of as a sketch. It's a thing that happens in real life called the Gen Z stare. It describes a phenomenon oftentimes in dealing with customers, small talk or answering innocuous questions, where Gen Zers appear to be stuck in a catatonic state. Take a look. Hey, welcome to the Newsroom Cafe. What can I get you started with? Maybe a drink.
I've experienced this. This is real. This is
Yeah.
real. Like I've experienced with my nieces and nephews and stuff. But
Do you need more time?
Oh.
But you think that's a Gen Z thing?
Well, to me, it reminded me kind of like the Valley Girls in the 80s.
Yeah.
When you would approach people and they just didn't want to talk to you and you just get the death stare.
But does it work both ways? Because I thought it was more so the
whatever it is, it's real. But I wonder if it's something to do with like socialization, like maybe something different in the socialization of people brought up on the computer and stuff. Like maybe we're already seeing it, or something like that.
Or is it a lack of interaction with adults?
Yeah, lack of interaction. Like they're scared of adults. They haven't had a ton of interaction with adults. Yeah, I remember as a kid, you had to kind of go through that. People said you've got to start learning to talk to adults a bit better. Like I remember getting forced and pressured to do that in certain things.
Well, that's the thing though. It's like because there's the population of kids that have no interaction with adults, and so they just stare at you, and then the rest were diddled by pedophiles, and so they're catatonic because they have emotional damage, and that's why they're quiet. So that's the whole population of kids.
We know there's a lot of stuff with like faces in the really young kids and the ones that like went through the mask and stuff. They've already seen some. I saw Dr. Drew talking about that just this week. But I also wonder if something happens if you don't have that Tom Sawyer time. Like really go read like Tom Sawyer again. If you haven't read it for years. So much before like the main action starts happening. So much is him trying to figure out what to do with his bored little self in the 1800s. And it's really interesting that was the topic when you're talking about boredom, that Tom Sawyer is actually kind of in a weird way a lot about boredom and how to handle yourself. But I don't know. Let's go to this. But these guys, I don't know how much we have to see, but just kind of like their shock and outrage that's actually it's you guys should be better prepared for this because that would be most people's reaction, I think, to it. And I don't think you should even be afraid of it. Just like Forrest said, like I thought it was supposed to be boring. My mission companion, I could bring him on. He's the guy who has the tattoo on his back of the facsimile. He said that his main thing that became a major testimony builder for him on his mission is he knew how bored I was on my mission and how much I hated it, and yet I still went as hard as I could.
And people at the end of this episode might not be so happy about him because he made an episode where he apparently has read the entire Book of Mormon all the way through. And so he made an episode about his kind of raw reaction. Now, obviously, this is going to be an episode that a lot of Latter-day Saints are going to be kind of annoyed by because of some of the things that he says. But it's just kind of his raw, real reaction. And I think that it's worth reacting to because I think that he actually presents a particular way that some people read the Book of Mormon. And I think that I just think it's worth commenting on.
Okay, so you don't think he's just doing typical atheistic tropes that he's heard and just recycling kind of old garbage. You think he's actually being authentic in his authenticity? Because a lot of authentic content.
Have we just been troping here tonight, Risto, or are we authentic eating?
It makes me curious. Do investigators that you talk to on your does anyone actually read through the whole Book of Mormon before they pray about it?
Nobody read anything.
I don't think, like, I'm trying to think if anybody else, like, oh, you actually read it. Like, no, I don't think so.
No.
Like,
and
we certainly never had anybody who's like, hey, I read this book and I felt the spirit and I'm ready to go. Like that, I for sure never happened.
Or people came running, calling us, like, we heard these stories growing up. They're like, I found the book in a ditch and I read it overnight. And then I was like, I've got to find somebody to baptize me. We heard they told those stories, right? Yeah. And, we were like, well, that had to have been something from the 1800s or something, man, because nobody's calling us up because they came across this book.
But then again, I think as Americans, we tend not to read much anyways. We talk a lot about stuff without having read it. Like even in like the whole religious debato-sphere, arguing about doctrines, people just argue back and forth. And it's like they haven't read it. They found some, you found whatever apologetic thing you need online or whatever, like quote mining things. And then, but if you ask anyone for like someone that like has a YouTube channel and they're like big into apologetics and you're like, what's the context of that? And they're like, I don't know. You tell me. It's like, Well, you brought it up. You know, we just don't read stuff.
That's true, but at the same time, like I remember when I was a little kid and some of the stuff in the Book of Mormon I was reading, like I felt like I didn't get it, and then later, when I was old enough to trust my brain, I go, wait, no, I got it. I thought I was not getting that. I thought there certainly must have been something else going on, or you know, but no, I was getting it, and I honestly think about that. Like if you were somebody reading it out of the cold blue, cold turkey, out of nowhere, you'd be like, "What is this talking about? Is this some guy doing this or that?" And you're probably getting it right, but you're still just totally confused. Like, is this saying what I think it's saying? You know.
It would be interesting to just catalog, kind of like you did a little bit of like what is the doctrines per word, or you know.
I'm sure ChatGPT could do it. I mean, it kind of gave me a percentage of the Tolkien scenery thing. Who knows if it's exactly?
Yeah,
right.
Steve asked me, Risto, how many Christians have read the Bible? I mean, that's a good question. I'm sure that's been surveyed. You know, they tend to, in mainstream Christianity, I don't know how it works in the LDS church, but like people kind of read like chunks at a time, or they've got like some sort of little devotional book. It's pretty rare that people actually just go through and read it in big chunks like you would Lord of the Rings.
Like, would it affect anything or change anything if you skipped the genealogies in the Old Testament? Like,
not unless you're a
do you
historian.
need to read that? Like, like it's not like anybody remembers. Like somebody sitting down there with their pencil going, "Okay, taking notes." Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you know there are parts in the Bible that drag. I just read Job, and in the middle of Job, it does drag. The beginning's pretty interesting when his life, you know, when his kids die and everything falls apart, but the middle's kind of.
I wonder if it's because you know the whole thing where, according to biblical critics, they think that Job has two authors, and that the beginning and the end were one author, and then the middle was an interpolation from another author. So that's the one.
It's the closest thing that I can think of. I don't think it's as bad as the Book of Mormon, but it definitely, like as I was going through,
Isn't there stuff with like way longer like genealogies that just
genealogies, yeah,
not counting that stuff.
Those are definitely boring, but they're not without meaning. It doesn't feel like someone's just stretching a genealogy out. It's just Flip said, is like, why do I need to be reading this? But
did you ever read them though to be a completionist? Because like what most people do is you can see them and it's just genealogy, you can just skip it. But I read it to be a completionist.
No, I don't think I ever did with the Old Testament, like cover to cover Old Testament. But a few years ago, like during COVID, I started to learn about Catholicism and Orthodoxy and Mormonism. And so after like hearing everybody's claims about everything, I was like, you know what, I should like go and read through the New Testament again and see who lines up best. So our family, we did read through like cover to cover in a few months, the whole New Testament.
Wow. That took long, but I had nothing to do on my mission, but in every single morning we were just supposed to read for a little bit. And so I just like mapped out like, well, I got nothing to do for the next 9 months and I have to read every morning. So I just, I made like a chart of how many chapters I had to read. It was actually pretty easy because I had to just do it every morning. But I was completionist. So I didn't actually know what I was reading on those genealogy things a lot of time, but I was like, I'm going to read every name and just sat there and read through them. Because that's what you do when you're Tom Sawyer bored on a mission. Boy, oh boy, did I find ways to fill in my brain time on that mission.
They let you read Song of Songs?
Yeah. Whatever.
Really?
It was in
Can't
the
tell you
Bible,
not to.
Well, Joseph Smith didn't like it, right?
I remember reading that in my Sunday school at church one time. My friends who found it, and we were joking around, you know, snickering, reading it to each other. The one where it like talks about like the boobs are like grapes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But yeah, I mean, just I read all the names and I didn't know what I was reading really at that time. I knew it was just genealogy, but I didn't know if anybody actually sat there and read through those to try to be like a scholar about them.
Oh, I'm sure people do, but I don't know if I've ever read through all the genealogies. I probably skipped.
To be fair to the Book of Mormon, most people take it in just chunks like that too. I mean, and that's probably really the way it should have been taken all along. And they have to challenge everybody every year to read through the Book of Mormon, and people go and talk about having a tough time getting through Second Nephi and not being able to. I swear I was going to do it this year, but I didn't do it, and they're kind of honest about that, you know. But
Well,
then I did it.
Yeah, I think I read. So I'm about to get to Second Nephi 4, which I think I heard has a psalm in it, right? Is that right?
I don't remember stuff at
been
all.
so long.
Yeah,
So-
and that makes us like non-credible people to talk about this.
Well, I
because
think they brought it up. I think they maybe
I think
brought
it
it
totally
up.
does make us credible. Like they just brought that up with the John DeLynn, that since he hadn't read through it in years, that he wasn't credible anymore. So you have to read the Book of Mormon again every year to.
No, I think
disagree
they
with it.
brought up in Ward Radio the psalm, and so, I mean, I think monks used to go through. You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but 150 psalms like in a day, every day, or a week. I mean, that's. And you think about being a monk, it's like being on your mission, except for they do that their whole life. That's
wild.
yeah.
But at the same time, if that's the only thing you're doing, like when I was a missionary, sitting there reading the Bible time was kind of a little bit of a relaxing time in the day. It was like, it was I had nowhere else to go, you know, nothing else to do. And if I did have to go, I was out having to be frustratingly trying to dig up people to baptize. Both Troy and Steve say that, Troy's experienced the Gen Z stare, and Steve's wife, who teaches drama, says they've experienced the Gen Z stare. It's real. Like whatever it is, it's real. And I think there could be a bunch of hunches for it, but I think Riestel's right. It might just be like lack of interaction with adults, or maybe it's just too much FaceTime or screen time or something like that. But who knows? Let's listen to these dudes again.
Is really just
No, I know Jared. I've met him.
I've spoken with him as well. Full disclosure.
He's an authentic guy. Like I think people can authentically sort of read the Book of Mormon at a certain level, and you'll kind of see, and we'll get into that, kind of this level of analysis that he brings to the book. And yeah, so let's just get into it, and we can start reacting to his video.
Okay, cool, awesome. So here we go.
Let's go. Hold on, just to get started. Go to start at the 2-minute mark.
At the 2-minute mark. Oh, bummer, because I thought his kind of intro was a little bit funny.
He's got good intros. He's like a really, really good YouTuber. Yeah, you can start at the very, if you want.
So this is a weird question about Mormons that I usually don't come across, and it really did kind of bend my brain when I was reading a bunch more in grad school. But of course, there's some Mormons who have read a lot of literature, but actually, the truth of it is, most of them have not. You know, most of them have no idea like what some Dostoevsky book is like. You know what I mean? Like how intense they really are. And so,
well, Dostoevsky can be boring though.
He can be boring. But what I'm saying is like they're intensely, like it would be very difficult to write one. You know what I mean? So they kind of underestimate what even exists in the world to think if could Joseph Smith do this or not. And that question to me becomes very simple when you've read a lot of very intense literature, and you go, yeah. I mean, it's just not even like a hesitation. You just kind of, yeah, you would probably do that. Yeah, if you've read a bunch of stuff. And if you haven't, you just be like, there's no way, man. Not saying that he did. I'm just saying, well, I mean, that's how I would lean, but I'm not saying I approve. I'm just saying, like, if you read more, it's not that tough to kind of go, yeah, it's not that big of a stretch.
Yeah, so far it doesn't seem like a work of genius.
Yeah.
So the meat of it starts about 2 minutes in. So
I think he makes a good point at the intro, though.
Okay,
that needs to be addressed at the outset.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Then we're going to start at the very beginning. The YouTube channel is Heliocentric, and the title of the video is I Am an Atheist. I Read the Entire Book of Mormon. Heliocentric, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, I'm going to have a gaggle of lesbian OnlyFans models come out here, strip down naked, drink black coffee, and read every single cuss word in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. And that's going to happen in 3, 2, 1. Cool. Now that my Mormon audience is gone, I want to talk to you guys about that.
Wait,
all of us are just even more locked in.
That's a pretty funny intro.
He's good at what he does. Jared's a genius.
Yeah, I give him credit for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting watching Jared go to all these different churches, because it was kind of, he's kind of doing it around the same time that, like I told you during COVID, I started talking to Catholics and Orthodox and Mormon missionaries and in some weird ex-Mormons online. But our family started going to a bunch of different churches, kind of like Jared's doing. So it's been interesting to watch his reaction, although I think he comes from a fairly similar background. But I feel like I share many of his reactions, like how he felt about visiting like an Orthodox liturgy or a sacrament meeting. I feel pretty similar.
I haven't done enough of that, although I've done more than I'd say most kind of rando Mormons. I've been to like the Cathedral of the Magdalene here in Salt Lake and a bunch of times actually, and then a couple other different churches. My other friends like Greek Orthodox, and I went to his. Well, they're Greek. It's not like the Ortho Bros. I don't know what it is, but he's actually Greek. You know what I mean? Whatever that is, and they do the thing in Aramaic.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, he's the Maronite.
Yeah, he's a Maronite.
So they're not Orthodox. They're technically a kind of Catholic.
Yeah. I've been saying the word wrong.
Yeah, they're
I've been
Maronite.
saying it wrong.
Oh.
So Maronite Catholic, and yeah, that whole Greek festival they have downtown, his whole family's all involved with that stuff.
But their service, are they Eastern Catholic? Because the Eastern Catholic services are basically like the Orthodox.
I think that's where I get mixed up, because I do remember hearing the word Eastern in there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Like, they're not part of the Catholic Church, but they're part of the communion or whatever. Like, I don't know how it exactly works, but like, it's like the Armenian Orthodox, not the Armenian Orthodox, the Armenian Church. I'm getting them all confused now.
I get totally mixed up with it.
Sorry, I'm getting confused with the Antiochian. No, they're Orthodox. Damn,
that's
it's
Orthodox.
So confusing. Yeah, man. There's
well, yeah. Some are in communion with the Pope, and then that makes them Catholic. But they're still
Starbase Club says Orthodox reject the couple. I think we're talking like a different Orthodox here,
Eastern Catholic.
Eastern Catholic Greek.
What's the name for it?
Not Greek Orthodox, Eastern Catholic Greek. What was the other word you said? Not Maronite. You said a word. When they do it in Aramaic.
Maronite, yeah.
Did he say Maronite?
I think so.
They are a sui juris particular church in full communion with the Pope and the rest of the Catholic Church. And so there's a few of these that, like, they're not technically Catholics, but they are kosher, Catholic kosher.
This is exactly who he is. This is one of my best friends growing up.
Oh,
yeah, the Ukrainian church is that way.
The largest population of Maronites in the world is in Brazil.
Wow.
I just learned that now.
I didn't know that. Because they're Greek?
No, because they're Arabs. They're Lebanese.
Oh. My friend is Greek Lebanese.
Yeah. No, that's the thing.
He's half Greek, half Lebanese. Yeah.
His religion is Lebanese. Yeah, because the Greeks are.
So this is coming more from his Lebanese side than his Greek side?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, their liturgy is in Arabic.
Well, hey. Thanks, Ward Radio. You got us interested in Catholic. They laughed at me.
All right, on we go. Continue on.
Okay, here we go. Very real disclaimer at the beginning of this video. If you are a Latter-day Saint, I want to encourage you to consider not watching this video. I've talked at length on this channel about how painful it was for me to leave religion, and videos like this when I was younger, at best, just made me kind of pissy, or at worst, were kind of emotionally tumultuous for me.
I'm sorry. This is the audio snob in me. The only thing that's making me pissy is the echo in your room. Sorry, Jared, you're a nice guy, but we're going to deck you out with some microphones. We're going to hook you up with some, solid room treatments. That's all we're going to do, my man. Now we keep going.
No, that was the point. That was the point from the beginning that I was talking about. They have this thing. Remember the guy from the Ensign Peak whistleblower
thing?
At the beginning of his book, it was like, if you're a TBM, don't read this. And John DeLynn did the same thing on X just like 2 days ago. He put out a thing, 5 reasons why I'm not Mormon, and at the top he put, if you're happy in your faith, don't read this. And Jared, he's a cool guy. I've also met him. He's a cool guy. He likes to talk about tired tropes that he doesn't like seeing pastors or churches repeat. And this is one of those for Latter-day Saints, I think. He's the tired trope of like, if you listen to what I'm about to say, your faith is going to...
I don't think he was doing that. I think he was saying he was going to be mean. I didn't think he was saying that he was going to rock your world.
Well, I think he was just giving heads up. It's like, again, like me asking that question in the Lobsters group this week, that did not go over well. Some people did not want to hear that question. So he was just giving the preface of like, hey, if you don't want to hear questions about temple, what's secret or not secret in the temple, please don't don't comment here. Don't read it.
It's like, and he doesn't even say anything that interesting in the video. Like, if he actually had something that was kind of new and big, okay, but
But
I will- I will
he's
say
not
this.
doing a debunking. Like it wasn't one of those videos. Like if you're comparing it to John DeLynn and that stuff.
Well, and you know, having like kind of listened to the whole Mormon and ex-Mormon space for a few years now, I don't think I've heard. Well, I've heard the Mark Twain quote before, but not a lot of people really focus on like, hey, maybe the Book of Mormon's boring, or it's dragged out and doesn't have a lot of meaning. So I do feel like he was kind of presenting it in at least his own unique take on that.
Yeah. Did you guys watch the Mark Twain clip that I sent you earlier? Had you ever seen that before?
I don't
The
think I
claymation?
watched it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Watch
Fame
this
is
thing.
a vapor. The only earthly
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Just gonna, because I was gonna bail pretty soon because I got to work in the morning.
Okay. Watch this and then bail.
Okay.
is oblivion.
This
Mysterious stranger.
This rings a bell.
I saw this on Saturday mornings. I saw this like I came across it just on a Saturday morning on normal television.
Who are you?
An angel. What's your name? Satan. Oh. What's the matter? Nothing. Only it's sure a sorry name for an angel. Please, come in.
What the fuck?
Come on.
I'm telling you, I saw this just on a Saturday morning. This thing.
What is it?
It's a claymation. It's from some book of Mark Twain's about Satan. Mark Twain wrote a book about Satan or something like that. I don't think this claymation is this. It's based off of it.
Crazy.
Watch more.
How do you learn to do that? I didn't learn it at all. It comes naturally to me, like other curious things. Are you hungry? Sure am. What kind of fruit do you like the most?
Oranges. Apples.
Grapes.
Ooh. Where'd he go?
What happened to him?
There. Oh boy.
Can we help? You may make some people.
So this feels temple-y too. Whatever's going on there.
Well, the 80s had a dark side. Did you guys ever watch the Disney movie Watcher in the Woods?
I've been trying to find that because, like, I watched it a few times as a kid, and I remember being genuinely creeped out by it, and I want to see if it holds up. And I've tried finding it online, and I cannot find it.
I was shown that movie at my pastor's house, and I think I had nightmares for like a month.
This one gave me nightmares as a kid, for sure.
King and queen.
I'm gonna make a soldier.
Look at that little village.
There, here's a buddy.
Now we'll give them life.
Looks like my pap on Saturday night.
I don't know. Maybe the Pixar trans stuff isn't so bad.
It's like million people.
I find you humans quite interesting, even though you are a worthless, greedy lot. How annoying that sound is. Fools. What fascinations there are on this planet. Strange mortals with curious customs. We'll have a storm now, and an earthquake if you like. You must stand aside, out of danger.
Who made this?
You can look it up on Wikipedia, whatever it was. And I'm gonna look up just to prove it. I caught this just on a Saturday morning. Who made
1985. Also known as Comet Quest in the United Kingdom.
1985 Family Fantasy.
It
1
was
hour.
a
26
box
minutes.
office bomb.
Did it say anywhere that they played it on Saturday morning television?
Let's see. No, I'm just looking at the Wikipedia.
I can do no wrong, for I do not know what it is.
You murdered him.
Never mind them.
Oh, he
People
did
are of no
Domino's pizza
value.
commercials with
We
the
could make
Noid.
more
Yeah.
sometime, if we need them. Life itself is only a vision, a dream. Nothing exists save empty space, and you are but a thought.
Well, there's some Mark Twain stuff for you.
Trivia question for you guys. Do you know why the Noid disappeared from television?
Yeah, some murder, right?
A schizophrenic guy with the unlikely last name of Noid went and attacked a Domino's Pizza because he thought they were part of a grand conspiracy to make fun of him.
That's true. I remember hearing about that whole story. He killed a bunch of people, didn't he?
Let's see.
Did he not?
I can't remember if he.
So the Word Radio's guys brought this up that I guess Brigham Young, Mark Twain was pretty young when he visited there, and Mark Twain also said all the Mormon women were ugly. But I guess Brigham Young patted him on the head and said he looked like a little kid. He said, "Oh, you brought your kid with you. Is this a boy or a girl?"
So he didn't kill anybody, but he held 2 employees for hostage for 5 hours.
Jeez.
I wonder what the source is of that Brigham Young thing. Has anyone fact checked that?
It's Mark Twain himself.
Oh, he said it.
Yeah, Mark Twain. Mark Twain gives the story of visiting the Mormons.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Let me just give the preference to everyone, because having obviously watched this and knowing all the things that he talks about, you guys, this is not a big one. Like this one will annoy you. It may annoy you, but there's nothing in this that's like hasn't been said 5 billion times since the beginning.
Yeah, and I think all of us do tire to a certain extent of this whole like, oh well, I just know too much. I just found out too much on this specific one, right? So hopefully he'll actually come on the show. I lost track of him. I confess the ball was in my court and I dropped it. He was going to do a video with us.
I've been in touch with him, and I have a little announcement at the end of this episode that I want to make.
Ooh, okay, cool, awesome. Well, we're gonna keep going. Heliocentric, which great channel name. Heliocentric, go.
They impose that on somebody if that's not the kind of headspace that you need to be in right now. There is zero shame in putting this video on the back burner or just not watching it entirely.
All right, maybe we should back
with all
out.
those.
Okay, what?
Maybe we should back out. I don't know. I don't know.
All right,
I don't like handle this.
That's pretty funny.
Let's go to the one that Jacob was saying.
All right, let's go 2 minutes. So 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So this is his big announcement, his big sort of what he saw when he read the Book of Mormon. So 2 minutes until I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay.
Exmos and Nevermos, I guess. I'm a Nevermo. I had the privilege of reading this for the first time. Now, big old fat disclaimer. I have read this book exactly one time. I am not a scholar. I am not an expert. This is not my definitive, hey, this is the truth of this book or anything. I apologize in advance because I'm going to get all kinds of names, events, everything very wrong. This is not that kind of channel. So with all that being said, drum roll please. The Book of Mormon is, without a doubt, the worst religious text I have ever read.
Jared, can you read?
Now, we'll give some caveats there. It is not the worst religious book. However, it is definitely the worst primary religious document that I've ever read. So I'm comparing it to things like the books in the Old and New Testament, the Quran, early Christian epistles, and the gajillions of Gnostic Gospels. Mark Twain famously said that the Book of Mormon was
Oh, look, he showed the acclamation and the thing. I didn't even see that.
As in, it was basically like anesthesia. I would describe the Book of Mormon as chewing flavorless gum for a month. In order to explain.
That's it.
Okay.
So I honestly, it was kind of funny. I kind of laughed when I heard him say that, because I have also read the other religious texts. I've read, obviously, many of you have read the Old New Testament. I've read the Quran cover to cover. And to say that this is somehow the worst religious text, I just was sort of like, you know what this sounds like? Have you ever, you know, like a
it
17...
sounds like the kids in high school that say Shakespeare is boring.
Yeah, exactly. It's
that's true.
It is somebody. Now here's the reality. If you take somebody who doesn't know and just reads the Book of Mormon, you just give it to someone and they're not like reading it seriously with real intent and stuff, like go give someone the Bible and do that. Go read the book of like Samuel in the Bible,
But that's I mean, I guess I had context, but that's kind of how I read the Bible.
There are all sorts of religious texts out there.
There's pretty cold turkey in it. I mean, you grew up Mormon and stuff, but a lot of the stuff I was like, I don't know what I'm reading here, and you get to all sorts of things that like, whoa, this is wild. What's going on here? How come we didn't read this in Mormonism at all? But then you'd get to those like long genealogy chapters and all that sort of stuff and get bored. But there's all sorts of wild stories. Like you never hear about the bald guy who attacks the people with the she bear and all that sorts of stuff until you're getting to that. But I did notice. I think that most of my favorite stories, and when I was a kid, I was telling you earlier, I mixed up in my head what was Book of Mormon and what was Bible when I was a kid, and I think definitely most of my favorite stories shake out Bible. Like I thought, David and Goliath, I always loved Daniel in the lion den and that sort of stuff.
I think it's like because most of the Bible, because it's from old stories that were told orally for centuries, and then didn't get written down until most of them in the current millennium or whatever. Sorry, like after Christ, and so like they were already edited like through time, because like I bet you that like there was probably a period of time when Genesis was a nightmare. And then it got cut down to the 2 chapters we have now.
That's exactly what we were talking about, like the Book of Mormon should do with the Chat GPT, although that would maybe be too technical. But one of Jordan Peterson's arguments is that whittling down left in it some of the most like kind of condensed stuff. So you really got to think about each word that's being used there.
Yeah, well, the things that really mattered and really stuck with people over the centuries is what was left in.
Isn't the Book of Mormon supposed to be that though? I haven't gotten further at the end. Weren't they supposed to be like condensed already?
Yes. Like
supposed to be.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But like, no, it's obviously, I mean, I don't, this is one of those things when like, just like when I think about the Ward Radio guys, it's so obviously a 19th century book. It's so obviously created. Like if Joseph Smith didn't write it, somebody in the 19th century did. Like it is so obviously not an ancient book of scripture. It just isn't.
Well, the Bill of Rights stuff could have been ancient.
Yeah. I keep telling you, like eventually you're going to get to the 7th grade civics lesson that's tucked into the Book of Mormon.
Well, have you read the Quran?
I got through most of it. But that's one thing when he said that, like, oh, this is the worst.
I have not read the Quran.
The Quran is hard to read because none of it's in order. Like, there's like the chapters ramble like crazy, like there's no narrative thread. Like, it's hard to pin down anything where, like, oh, here's a story with a beginning and a middle and an end.
Yeah, I opened it up once with no intention to read it and just looked through it and I was like, no.
Does it feel like, because we've talked about that idea that Jared brought up of someone trying to stretch like a small bit of research into like a 3-page paper, or it'd be like if someone's like, here, take this loaf of bread and now make a 5-course meal for Flip, and you got here to my house and you're like, oh, that was an interesting first course, and you're like, wait a minute, and then by the time you get to the 5th course you're like, I know what he's doing, everything just has bread in this over and over and over. Did the Quran feel like that at all?
I mean, it's been a lot. Like, see, it's even hard to remember because, like, I just remember having a hard time keeping my brain switched on. Like, it tend to have that kind of hypnotic feel. Because the other thing is, like, because I started reading it, I'm like, okay, I can't follow this, and so I tried to read it in the order that the chapters were revealed.
You weren't reading in Arabic, were you, Flip?
No. Right. My Arabic is not good enough for that. Not even close. Well, that's the thing is, like, well, see, that's the other dirty secret of Islam. Like, even if you speak modern Arabic, you don't speak the language of the Quran.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like classical Arabic. It's like Middle English to us,
Yeah.
Maybe even deeper than that. But so I tried reading it in the order that they were revealed, and that didn't help at all. Like, it just was the same kind of thing. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, the Quran is a strange book. That's another one of those things when people when they hear Muslims say, like, oh my God, I read the Quran and I was immediately taken by the spirit of Allah.
They have those same stories. I mean, I guess you've imagined
absolutely. Because one of the things about the Quran is so weird is that, like, it's not arranged in any. There's no sense to the arrangement other than longest to shortest. Like, I mean, that I guess, like, if you have to burn through it, it's kind of nice because, like, if you read a chapter a day, like, by the time you get to the last third, you can just rip through them real quick. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, let's find some Quran and read it.
Well, and it's even okay for stuff to be boring. I think I think that's the thing is like it, but also admit it and be honest. Like one thing that I recommend that everyone read, at least anyone who's kind of nerdy, is like go back and read the account of the Spaniards first going into Mexico.
I had to read that in college. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
It's awesome, but there are boring spots, like when they're on the islands trying to decide, are we going, are we not going? There's a few.
It's hard to read because it's in the old Spanish too.
Well, I mean, I read it.
You didn't read it in Spanish.
I read a translation, yeah, but it's just
But was that translation? Because I would think even the translation would kind of get.
No,
confusing.
it was fine. It was good. I have my copy. I should grab my copy, but parts of that story are just some of the most exciting things I've ever read. But there are a few parts that kind of drag. Let me grab it.
So, are you ready for some Quran?
Yeah.
This is the chapter Ibrahim, and I picked it because I know who Abraham is. So, this thing,
Is
first
that
off,
how you would pronounce it?
Ibrahim is
that
Arabic,
just a straight American H.
Let me see what it says here in the Arabic. No, is that it? Ibrahim. Yeah, Ibrahim. So one thing, it starts off with Alif Lam Ra, which is, even like in Islam, it's a enormous mystery that a bunch of the chapters just start off with letters, and nobody knows what they mean. But it literally starts out with Alif Lam Ra. This is a book which we have revealed to you, O Prophet, so that you may lead people out of darkness and into light, by the will of their Lord, to the path of the Almighty, the praiseworthy. Allah, to whom belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on earth, and woe to the disbelievers because of a severe torment. They are the ones who favor the life of this world over the hereafter and hinder others from the way of Allah, striving to make it appear crooked. It is they who have gone far astray. We have not sent a messenger except in the language of his people to clarify the message for them. Then Allah leaves whoever he wills to stray and guides whoever he wills. And he is almighty, all wise. Indeed, we sent Moses with our signs, ordering him, lead your people out of darkness and into light, and remind them of Allah's days of favor. Surely in this are signs for whoever is steadfast grateful. Consider when Moses said to his people, remember Allah's favor upon you when he rescued you from the people of Pharaoh, who afflicted you with dreadful torment, slaughtering your sons and keeping your women. That was a severe test from your Lord. And remember when your Lord...
So is it just like this all the way through, or does it like have stories of people? Because I would take the Mormon stories of people over that.
There's almost no, again, I didn't get through the whole thing, but like part of what made it so hard to read is that it's all stuff like this. Like, I don't remember any like narratives.
Just somebody ranting at you.
Let's see.
Is it even saying who's ranting at you? Is it Ibrahim who rants at you, or is it?
No, this is Allah. I mean, it's all the words of Allah.
Oh, all it's just Allah ranting at you.
So Quran literally.
Or is he ranting to Ibrahim?
No. So Quran, the word Quran literally means recitation.
Oh.
And it's God spoke to Muhammad, and he repeated it.
Is it all in the voice of Allah?
Yeah, except he speaks in the third person.
Oh, the voice of Allah through Muhammad, but Muhammad was talking to somebody. Like the Doctrine and Covenants are all directed at somebody's sinning butt. Is it like that, or is it to the people, to everybody?
To the people, yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. Like I skipped one. Like, okay, Moses says the same thing. Allah is self-sufficient, praiseworthy. Have you not already received the stories of those who were before you, the people of Noah, Ad, Thamud, and those after them? Only Allah knows how many there were. Their messengers came to them with clear proofs, but they put their hands over their mouths and said, we totally reject what you have been sent with, and we are certainly in alarming doubt about what you are inviting us to. Their messengers asked them, is there any doubt about Allah, the originator of the heavens and the earth? He is inviting you in order to forgive your sins.
And how long is this? Longer or shorter than the Book of Mormon?
I think I don't know, actually. It's kind of hard to judge because they have all the Arabic and then the English. But,
I think I would take Book of Mormon over that.
Yeah. No, like the Book of Mormon at least has stories in it. Let's just go to Al-Khaf. All praise for Allah who has revealed his book to his servants. I just picked one at random, seriously. Allowing no crookedness in it, making it perfectly upright to warn the disbelievers of severe torment from him, to give good news to the believers who do good, that they have a fine reward, in which they will remain forever, and warn those who claim Allah has offspring. They have no knowledge of this, nor did their forefathers. What a terrible claim that comes out of their mouths. They say nothing but lies. Now perhaps you, O prophet, will grieve yourself to death over their denial if they continue to disbelieve in this message. Like
You read this whole thing?
No, I got through like
Oh.
2/3 of it before I'm just like, it was ultimate. So another one I just clicked at random. They ask you, O prophet, regarding the spoils of war. Say, their distribution is decided by Allah and his messenger. So be mindful of Allah, settle your affairs, and obey Allah and his messenger if you are true believers. This is one of the fun things where Allah...
Wait, I just felt the spirit.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Muhammad was always
I'm in.
getting...
I guess I got to get Allahized. How do you convert to that?
You
You don't get baptized.
You say the Shahada 2 times.
Oh,
and then you're a Muslim.
can't do that.
What is
I'm
the
out.
Shahada?
I'm out.
What is
The
it?
Shahada in English, it's there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger.
Wait, so you said it once?
Can you say
so
that
if you say it again, it's like
I'm sorry, I missed
Beetlejuice?
that. Can you say it
You
again?
have to mean it. You have to mean it.
And in front of like somebody who codifies it?
La Muhammadun Rasulullah.
Oh, you have to say it in
Arabic
language?
in case I ever get... No. I think you don't have to. I don't think you have to. But I've been practicing in Arabic in case I ever get kidnapped by Muslim terrorists.
But I want to be fair to LDS and Muslims. I think there's a piece of this is like the context that matters. So like someone might read, like I recommend this book and they'll be like, oh, Risto just went crazy recommending this book. But then they get into it, and if you're not interested in Mexico or the history of what happened, you might find it like super boring.
You're talking like Hernan Cortez's
yeah. So like if you have no interest in that topic, where I'm going to find it super interesting, you wouldn't. It would be like if you really came to believe like that Allah existed. And
there's other stuff that you should really know about it for the context. Like you should know Hernan Cortez is trying to impress a queen that he's writing to, and he probably is bragging and lying about some stuff type deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is actually written by one of the soldiers. What is it? Bernal Castillo. Yeah, and he probably did change or embellish things. But I think the context does matter. I think I used the analogy when we were talking earlier that like the rules for pickleball. If you're not interested in pickleball, the rules for pickleball are going to be super boring. But if you suddenly think that pickleball is the most interesting thing in the world, then it's going to have some meaning. Now that doesn't, I think that still doesn't address the issue of like if someone took the rules for pickleball and expanded it 1,000 pages, you still would maybe have issues with that, which I think is what Jared's issue was with the Book of Mormon. Not that it didn't have anything meaningful, but it just felt like he was just dragging it on forever.
Yeah.
Then without any sort of...
Before I bail out, because I need to bail out and go to bed, one thing that struck me when I started reading the Quran is because like the first chapter is like a preamble. The stuff really kicks off in chapter 2. And 2 verse 6, like, I'll just read the whole thing so it's in context and it's fast. This is how it begins. Alif Lam Mim. Nobody knows what that means. This is the book. There is no doubt about it. A guide for those mindful of Allah, who believe in the unseen, establish prayer, and donate from what we have provided for them, and who believe in what has been revealed to you, O Prophet, and what was revealed before you, and have sure faith in the hereafter. It is they who are truly guided by their Lord. It is they who will be successful. And then this is the verse where I was like, oh, as for those who persist in disbelief, it is the same whether you warn them or not. They will never believe. I'm like, oh, that's me. Thanks. Like, there I am, right in the book. Yep, you're right. Doesn't matter. I will.
What do they think happens to you in the afterlife?
Burn in hell. So one thing that's kind of interesting about Islamic afterlife is that some people say when you're wicked, you go to hell forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and that's that, and you burn and it's awful. But there's a lot of them that believe that it's basically just like it's like a prison sentence, like, you know, and it sucks and it'll be gajillions of years, but eventually you get out. And so the whole point of being good. Like that's part of the whole thing with like the Gaza war. The reason that Hamas is happy to use children as human shields is that they believe that children who die as martyrs in the war get a ticket straight to heaven. They go straight to paradise. And so like that's the whole thing. Like, you know, they say don't be sad if your kids get blown up by Israeli bombs. They get a ticket straight to paradise, whereas the rest of you might have to do some time in the burning fire of Gehenna.
And then in paradise, besides the 72 versions we always heard about, like, are they just supposed to keep being like devout Muslims, like praying 5 times a day? Like, what's do they create worlds and all that stuff? I know only Mormons say that. Yeah.
A couple LDS questions. I mean, are you guys offended if I say LDS? Should I be saying Mormon? Is there the possibility? I should be okay.
Not at you. I'm offended that I got made a thing.
Is it possible to get out of outer darkness?
No.
Everywhere
else. Well, there's supposedly some final eternal thing in each one of the other places, but supposedly a lot of the nicest of the nicer people will say that you will ultimately choose in full knowledge your final place.
Right. But the other kind of funny thing is about the afterlife that always gets lost in these Twitter wars between like Orthodox and Mormons or evangelicals or Mormons or whatever is, technically speaking, I don't think for like evangelicals, Protestants, Catholics, Orthodox, I don't think there's anything in their theology in the mainstream Christian theology that says that you couldn't create your own planets when you're in heaven.
Yeah, obviously. People make that a big deal about all.
They make a big deal, but there's nothing like in there. If you were to ask them, like, would that be possible? You know, I think they would have to say yes.
I think they just get upset when they say that you hit God level or like you're hitting the same level as God or Christ, so that's blasphemous. Or
yeah, maybe. And I think the idea of like, I guess, celestial sex and populating worlds, that's probably outside the normal.
The Muslim paradise, one of the things that it has is wine that has no after effects. You can drink yourself stupid and never get a hangover. That's part of Muslim heaven. That's fascinating because they're not supposed to drink on earth at all.
Any music? I think I learned this past week that music is
at the Mormon church. It's supposed to be all reverent, but I don't know if they think that means heaven's supposed to be eternal church, which I'll throw this bone to Mormons. Like some of my problem with my youthful kind of scrupulous thinking or whatever, people would say like the temple is like heaven or something. And I found the temple so boring. I'd be like, well, then heaven must be this boring all the time. I don't want to go to this. And I'm sure that they always meant all along that you probably could have played basketball in heaven or something like that, you know?
No, I meant for Muslims for music, because I learned this past week that I think music is what do they call it? There's a word,
haram,
or whatever their word for sin is. Like you're not supposed to
any music.
I think so. I mean, someone should fact check that.
Because you were asking us this week too about what Mormons could have in sacrament meeting, which is really weird. It's just as weird as trying to figure out caffeine laws, like what you can.
Haram, yeah, that was it. I think I read that music is haram.
The question of whether music is permissible in Islam has been the subject of debate among scholars for centuries. While some scholars argue that music is haram, others believe it can be permissible under certain conditions. The Quran does not explicitly mention music, leading to different interpretations. I wonder if there's been a fatwa. There's probably been fatwas on it. Like, it's funny because like in the West, we think that fatwa just means a death sentence, but a fatwa is a Islamic religious ruling on something that is not otherwise specified by the Quran.
But that's the Hadith. Some people have brought that up about like why you can't supercharge the language Iran uses. Like somebody was talking about how so I just sat down with this Iranian guy. He's a taxi driver, and the taxi driver goes, "Good, how's it going?" He's all, "Not so good. Death to traffic. Death to traffic." and because that's just how they speak, type stuff. And so maybe Iranian people have been saying that in some sort of way, like about the
They're just saying
Americans.
America sucks. America
Yeah.
sucks. When you say
Yeah,
death to
like I
America.
mean, I think it's like a lot of things where like that is an interpretation, but I think also that because like
they mean the whole thing.
because they also call it the Great Satan. Like, does he say,
Yeah.
"Oh, this woman driving slow in the left lane is the Great Satan"? I don't. I wonder. I don't think they do.
Mormons called the Catholic Church the Great and Abominable Church. Although now
Like,
they shirk from that. But
in the, I think it was in the 70s or 80s, there was a famous fatwa called the Coca-Cola fatwa, in that they declared that it was okay to drink Coca-Cola because that was a serious question, because it was a Western product, and so.
Oh, it was Western. I thought it was caffeine again.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like Mormons. Anyway, I gotta bail.
Okay, let's watch a little more of this, and we'll call it early too, because I gotta go walk a little poochie.
Little dog.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
But thanks for chilling. Thanks for coming on this Resto to make it interesting to review Book of Mormon stuff with somebody reading it right
You
now.
should come on every
Going through
week.
the same thing.
Keep us up to date.
We're gonna go as viral as this because it's like a new guy reading the Book of Mormon that goes viral.
Well, that's it. And I feel a little bad doing this. And I'm giving away my secret now, but whenever someone just goes hard against me in the comments, I just say, you know, I'm reading the Book of Mormon right now, and instantly they're like, oh, like, I'm praying for you. I hope you have, you know, like, it's like, why couldn't you have been kind in the first place?
That is awesome. That is a good out. That's amazing.
Yeah. But I don't think you're ever reading any of this stuff in bad faith, though. Too, you're not.
No,
really.
I'm reading.
I mean, maybe that's a little joke right there. But
well, the truth is, like, I don't think it's not like an option for me right now. It's not like I'm actively considering joining the church.
Yeah.
But I do have like.
What if you got struck by the Spirit, road to Damascus?
Yeah. So because like you're gonna get to Moroni's, when you get to Moroni's promise, you know how to pray. So do it and then return and report.
Sure.
I saw somebody point out, Flip, and I don't think I ever did this right, that it says in it you're supposed to ask if these things are not true. And I never read that little detail, and maybe I prayed wrong.
I was asking for it to be if it was true, and so
maybe we did the twisted-roo on the Harry Potter spell.
Well, and to tell like all my LDS friends, like I'm open. Like if that's where, like, I'm already theist, I already believe in God, I believe in Jesus. So I'm already most of the way there. I can have the conversation with Jacob if he ever wants to have it. And I'm open. Like if it says like, be Catholic, be Orthodox, be Mormon, you know, that's where I'll go. I'll have to like figure some stuff out, obviously, but I'm not like, I'm not resistant. But I'm mostly reading it just because I have friends who are LDS or friends that used to be. And like I want to be able to relate to them and understand like what they're talking about.
It's also just nice because because you know the whole challenge is like, well, have you even read the Book of Mormon? You can be like, yes, I have. Let's talk.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
Although that's not really a huge motivation for me. I feel like I'm not like in evangelize mode most of the time.
Starbase Cole says the way that verse is used in the mission is not what Moroni actually intended. That's probably true, huh? It wasn't like here's the promise, use the promise. That was probably configured later type stuff. But anyway, you can bail if you need to, Flip, or keep listening.
I'm just waiting for a pause. I'm bailing.
We'll just keep going a little bit more of these.
Of understanding of them, you're going to have the typical sort of teenage reaction.
Yeah, reading like 80 pages on tabernacle construction isn't going to be interesting to anyone. I don't care how cool, like I don't care how old you are. It's not going to be interesting.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I know. I like, give me that.
And I'm genuinely like, really? Like, I've read a lot of them. In the Book of Mormon, just on because I want to kind of approach this from an atheistic perspective.
Okay.
I want to say, okay.
Well, where's your fedora? Where's your
so this is the part to me here that I was like, I think like honestly they should be like, no, start from the point that this is going to be kind of tough to crack and you might need some help to crack it. And you know, if you ever did find it interesting, probably.
Well, and I think I'd even said this, like, you don't need to, like, for Mormons, you don't need to tell everyone how interesting it is. people will pick up on what you actually find is interesting or not. You know, like if you hang out with me and we start in the topic of salsa comes up, it's not going to take you very long to figure out that I'm really interested in salsa.
Well, I think you're bringing up really good points, and your points are just in general of like what's wrong with boring or what's wrong with taking some time, or just like we've always talked about here, because one of the things Mormons aren't very used to are the bitters of the world, and so like everything's sweet and candy and all that sorts of stuff. And if somebody comes out of it, they got to find out that scotch or whiskey or a cigar is learning an appreciation of a bitter, you know, and Mormons kind of almost don't have that in the taste bud world, although not all of them, of course, some of them get into it. But it almost would have worked or been better for me if people had prepped me how you are prepping me. You know what I mean? Like if somebody, I told you about the story that broke me in the MTC where they just said, just get the Tuesday, you come in on a Wednesday and you're just having a tough time, just left your family, it's rough, you're going through this really hard schedule, and say, just get to Tuesday. And I got to Tuesday expecting something huge and wow and something, and what it was like an old general authority talking, and it broke me. Like I just went, no, like and I saw everybody scribbling in their books and all that sorts of stuff, listening to the guy, and it just seemed like the same old boring stuff. And it really just kind of cracked me in that moment of like, oh my gosh, I'm in this and these guys really like it. But I honestly feel if they prepped me in the opposite direction, how you're prepping me, like, you know, if you just keep your mind like, here, this whole thing's about kind of keeping a solemn mind and and learn this stuff, and just you'll ease into it, you'll get into it, you know, all that sorts of stuff. It's kind of like when I tell people to go on the diet, I say it's got to be rough eating the kind of lame stuff, but really something kind of twists day 5, 6, 7 in, and you get very used to what you're eating, and it becomes like your mind calms and you just can just stick to it. It's not the funnest thing in the world, but you are now in a zone where you can just stick to it. Like if somebody had prepped me that way and said, just wait until you get a load of this aspartame treat I'm giving you next Tuesday. Like don't prime me for something that's not going to deliver, you know?
Well, but you also want the priming to be honest and real, you know? Yeah. It would be like, you know, we talked about like Christian movies are terrible, and they are terrible. Like, I don't want people priming me to understand why this next Christian movie is some amazing movie that I should be in love with. Because it's not going to be, you know, and it's okay just to admit the aspects of this are not good. I think honesty, this is part of my issue with Ward Radio and other channels, is people watch from the outside and they're looking, is this person honest? And I don't think they're being honest. And
yeah,
that's
I think honestly people would be like, yeah, I know the book's kind of tough to crack on first read. Yeah.
Well, and you could be like, there's parts of this that just drag and are kind of boring, and they could have been better, but it's not. And then you can talk about there are some good parts as well.
Which, to your point, I think almost everybody, you were talking about the temple stuff at the beginning, and that stuff gets hush hush. But I think Mormons all the time, everywhere, admit that scriptures can get boring. Just, you know, that wouldn't get hush hush if somebody just said that and like, oh, I was trying to read it, but it's so boring. Like nobody would like, but when they're presenting in front of an audience as missionaries, they got to act like it's outrageous, bodacious fun all the way through.
Yeah, and in the religious world, there can be a culture, which is not good. There can be this culture of like kind of like looking good or giving the right answer. It's about getting the right answers. We used to always joke that like the Sunday school answer is like God for everything, even if it's not the right answer. What did Jesus turn into wine? God. You know, it's like, no, that's the wrong answer. But you get credit for at least just giving that answer. So, but it doesn't make any sense, because technically at the foundation of like what those religious principles are is to be like brutally honest, you know, like Jordan Peterson honest.
Yeah. And maybe they're being, I don't know, that they act so confused and then even kind of get a little bit hostile to his intelligence that he found it boring. Here is the part that I found gauche. I don't know what the word would be for it.
Self-loathing, your self-importance, your
Zanny?
No,
That's part of being an atheist.
Well, because it drives you to this like depressive inward. You know? Okay, keep going.
So again, it's just one of those things that if you read the Bible or you read the Book of Mormon or you read the Quran, I'll even admit maybe there's a lot more to the Quran than when I first read it, and maybe if I really studied it with someone, I could get more out of it. But yes, if you just read some of these texts just straight up, they're not going to be like the Lord of the Rings or something. But I have to say, I mean, the Book of Mormon has some pretty cool stories in it.
Oh, for sure.
Like some really kind of interesting characters and plots and
But
issues.
see, this is where
and he gets more
I
details,
feel
stuff
like again both
no.
are true. Like parts of this book of Cortez going into Mexico, parts of this book drag and are boring.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to make the movie of it, you would cut it out. And then there's also some.
Like you said, Lord of the Rings, tons of scenery in Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Everybody gets shocked that there's so much scenery in Lord of the Rings.
So it's just you admit that both can be true.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And I think, okay, yeah, sure. Deuteronomy is probably one of the most boring books on the planet when you're in the sections of like the Mosaic Law. But also, I mean, David and Goliath is a secular metaphor, as just a cultural touch point, as just a plain old story, is awesome and riveting.
But that is one of the things about the Bible that not just because of this, but it's like such a cultural touchstone for all things, a cornerstone for, like these guys were making fun of Mark Twain. Can you read Tom Sawyer and understand fully Tom Sawyer without the Bible? No, you need the Bible to understand everything that's said in Tom Sawyer, because the Bible comes up all the time in Tom Sawyer. But could you read Tom Sawyer without the Book of Mormon? It doesn't even like come to play, but there's so much extra that you are getting, I guess, just kind of study for. Like you just by reading that Bible, you can also know that in the future you're going to understand so many other pieces of literature better. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's why I'm reading the Mormon scriptures, is because now when people talk about like the vision, the tree or the building, like I have an idea of like what that means.
So you get it with Mormons and the Mormon Friends, but do you need that? Is it going to become useful? I don't know. People say that the new TV show Severance has a bunch of Mormon theology in it, or Battlestar Galactica has a bunch of Mormon theology in it. So maybe it'll like help there, but it's not going to become super useful in almost all literature. Whereas most other Western literature, knowing some Bible is going to help make that story make more sense.
Well, in 2100 AD, when the western half of the U.S. is Mormon, then my offspring, you know, they will have read their great grandfathers,
and there will be a Shakespeare Mormon who dropped in a bunch of Mormon stuff, and then all our jokes about like the movies and TV shows that have all the Mormon stuff dropped into it sneakily will just start really actually happening. Yeah.
So I wouldn't know. Of course,
I want to hear why. Why is he saying this?
He gets more. He gets a little more into
but
it.
I'll add something before we move on.
See, Hayden should know better. That is feigned ignorance.
Yeah, like
Hayden
really,
knows better.
Really, they don't like it.
I just want to know why. Like,
is it performative ignorance for
it
this show?
It is definitely.
Quote that no one quotes ever. He didn't just go to Utah and then call the Book of Mormon Chloroform In Print and then leave. He, as he set out, Jeffrey L. Holland gives a talk. It's one of his first about Mark Twain's religious life, and this is where I'm getting that quote. The talk's called Soul Butter and Hogwash. It's really good if anyone's interested. But this is what Mark Twain said as he was leaving Utah after meeting with Brigham Young and getting cared for by the homely Mormon women. That's what he said. He said, "Neither hunger, thirst, poverty, grief, hatred, contempt, nor persecution could drive the Mormons from their faith or their allegiance. And even if the thirst for gold, which gleamed the flower of youth and the strength of many nations, was not able to entice them. That was the final test. An experiment that can survive that is an experiment with some substance to it somewhere."
Wow. Also, by the way, here's an interesting thing. Whose books have sold more copies? Mark Twain or Joseph Smith? Here's one of the problems with heliocentric analysis here.
Well, see, I don't know
tens
about
of millions
that.
of people.
Sometimes I wonder about
like
these
passed out or sold.
Right. But I did think that was a really awesome Mark Twain quote, and it's exactly where Jared's coming from. Is like two things can be true at once. You could be like, "Hey, I find the Book of Mormon kind of uninspiring," but I do find a lot of LDS people, Mormon people, I do find them compelling. And there's some really cool things about what they do, even if I don't agree with every little aspect. And that's definitely the case for me. Like I've been super impressed by many of the things in the Mormon world.
Yeah. This says the Book of Mormon's been far more printed and distributed, but that's not sold. Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn are 50 million. Book of Mormon's 200 million. But
for just printed.
Sold, that's printed and distributed.
Yeah.
So Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer's are sold,
Right.
but
because we're talking about not the blue ones. We're talking about like these, right? Like how many of these are sold.
It's everything.
Is worth reading. They literally view it as scripture. So one guy's opinion who says, "No, this is boring," is like against not only all the people who have embraced this book as something incredibly inspired and divine, but like it's also had a demonstrable effect on the lives of those people for the better.
Yeah,
so,
did Twilight, which is far more exciting. Apparently,
and again,
change your life.
I kind of maybe disagreed with this a little bit. Is it the Book of Mormon that is having the effect on members' lives, or is it all the structure that's there, the community, the teachings, the doctrines? You know, is it all the other things around it, the mission? And the reason I ask that is because in interacting with members, it's not like they're constantly quoting me the Book of Mormon.
Yeah. Well,
but they do talk about the community, like the aspects of the church that are compelling to them.
Totally. I've always thought it's weird too that, like I told you earlier, I don't think Joseph Smith used the Book of Mormon too much, but which was always kind of weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
And he explains the Book of Mormon as, and we're not there yet. I'll just summarize it because we're not going to watch the whole video. But he says the whole Book of Mormon is just like the Nephites are good and the Levites
we'll get there.
and they're fighting, then they repent, and they're fighting, then they repent. I'm already halfway to my point, so I'll just.
Can I read one more Mark Twain quote really fast?
We'll get
before we go into this.
I want to hear another Mark Twain quote.
Okay, this is what he said about the Bible. He says, so this is for all the Protestants and critical Christians watching. Like, yeah, Mark Twain hates the Book of Mormon. Like the Book of Mormon's stupid. Here's what he said about your Bible. He said, "It is full of interest. It has noble poetry in it, and some clever fables, and some blood-drenched history, and some good morals, and a wealth of obscenity, and upwards of 1,000 lies. The two testaments are interesting each in its own way." So he's not a friend of your book.
And my favorite, no, the best is when Brigham Young owned him, because you know what happened when he went to meet Brigham Young? Yes, he patted him on the head and looked at like Mark Twain's traveling companion and goes, "Is this your child, boy or girl?" That's wild.
Shut up, Diddy.
Brigham Young actually did that to Mark Twain. Not Diddy, Brigham Young.
Okay. So let's keep going.
Let's keep going. We're gonna go to 7 minutes and 5 seconds.
7 minutes and 5 seconds. Here we go. Heliocentric / modern Mark Twain. He'd probably appreciate that. Go.
I just kind of assume that it's not true. I'm happy to hear you out, but I just going into it, unlikely in my mind. I don't know if Mormons really think about it in these terms, but there's kind of
no, because only atheists are smart enough to climb to the precipice of self-reflection and take a look back and wonder, am I wasting my time completely? Could this be true? No, only those endowed with with the intelligence of atheism are capable of deep thought.
An Old Testament and a New Testament portion of the Book of Mormon, because allegedly many of these books were written hundreds of years in the Americas by Jews or God-fearers, or I don't know how they would describe themselves, prior to the coming of Christ. Then there's a portion of the book that refers to the Americas post Jesus coming, but there's a plot twist in there. Jesus comes to America. I'll get to that in a minute. No spoilers. So what's in the old?
That was actually a pretty good graphic, and I think they should incorporate that one into the seminary.
One thing I would say is that. So Jared is coming from the background of being an evangelical. So like a little bit different than the circles I grew up in. I think maybe a little bit more Pentecostal, but also fairly similar. And in that world, I don't know if he talks about this in his other videos where he visits the couple sacrament meetings that he does. In that world, there definitely is what I would say is kind of like an unfair bias against Mormons. Unfair in the sense in that I don't think they do a great job of giving everything a fair shake, and they don't go very deep. There's something like if I disagree, let's say you really love ping pong and I hate ping pong. And I want to talk to you about that. There's something kind of respectful of like me actually doing a deep enough dive to understand where you're coming from with ping pong. So the kind of the general mindset in the evangelical world, and this, but and all missionaries who've been in the U.S. know this, is like that Mormons are heretics and they have a really shallow view of their theology. And it's like Mormon's bad. And like almost the only interaction is like, how can I convert you away from your bad beliefs or just argue with you?
Satanic Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. And so So that's kind of Jared's background. Now the question is like how much he's been an atheist for a while. How much of that is he bringing into this? Is it coloring how he reads the Book of Mormon? I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't pick up on lots of that, but it could be.
Would describe themselves prior to the coming of Christ. And then there's a portion of the book that refers to the Americas post Jesus coming. But there's a plot twist in there. Jesus comes to America. I'll get to that in a minute. No spoilers. So what's in the Old Testament portion? Is there anything cool? Anything fancy? Anything awesome? No.
Brother.
No.
Come on, dude. He's tweaking. Hold on, keep going. I wanted to finish this thought because he goes on to some more things here in this part.
It's so boring. I don't know why doctors don't prescribe this over Ambien.
Wait,
It's so dull.
is he saying this about the Old Testament portion only?
Yeah, he's saying everything before Third Nephi is boring. So keep going. Just keep going. This is again.
This is felony, dude.
It's
So
not a
with the book being
felony.
a compendium of
It's
books.
pretty true.
There's several different books in the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
You would expect there to be different genres. Oh man, maybe there's a book of poetry. Maybe there's a book of prophecy. Maybe there's fables. Maybe there's really iconic stories. No, it sounds completely monotonous. And
Okay, go ahead and stop there.
Brother, dude.
Okay, so
did he read it?
Like that was the part where I was like, okay, hold on. First of all, Psalm of Nephi,
Dude.
the olive tree allegory, like no fables, no parables.
Second Nephi 2.
Second Nephi 2.
Enos's
put
prayer.
together a little bit of a list.
So I do
It's
think
not one of those things.
I do think that's a little fair actually, because I think I just read Second Nephi like the day of or the day before they released this video, and I was kind of struck by how Second Nephi is just like packed full of stuff. And I don't know if Jared mentions it at all in his video, but I think he should have picked up on a few of those things, like, and mentioned them, like, because like the picture of the tree, the dream of the tree and the house, like that does read as, even if you don't understand all of it, it's like, oh, that's an interesting symbolism. Something's going on here. And he should have mentioned, I think, a few of those things at least.
Yeah. I agree with him though. I just felt it was mostly boring, but you're being
that's true. See, both of those things are true though. That's how I feel.
Choice is the kid on the right has the Gen Z stare.
Yeah. I mean, a few of the things are interesting, but then it is just kind of mostly just dragging and pretty boring.
I mean, I liked the Nephi stories a little bit when I was young, but they are kind of particularly one of the things that I remember sitting there trying to envision them in my head as actually happening and really struggling with that, even from like a young age. But when I really kind of stop and think about it, it's kind of just traveling. The Laban story is cool. Like is that before? Yeah, killing Laban is, I guess that's kind of rocking, and it should like make people stop and go, what, if they're coming from some other tradition or something like that. But I guess that part, yeah, there's something. I came up with something.
How do you say that?
Nephi is commanded to kill Laban. That's kind of like a weird story that has weird implications and heavy implications.
Not just weird, intense, and in the first 4 pages.
Yeah, killing a drunk guy to get a book and run away with it.
Dude, we
Start
started
your own
hold on,
civilization.
guys, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give him that one. That's something that happened. You know what I mean? But
based off just the first 4 chapters of the Book of Mormon, it is so loaded with wild cultural, historical, archaeological, and military implications that we're getting collaboration from museums in ancient Israel that specialize in understanding 6th century BC Jerusalem, the weapons they used, the clothing they had. It is so rich. We had to whittle down the scope of the first entire video game to only 4 chapters and 22 pages.
Does it take place the video game before?
What video game is
35?
this?
He's making one.
Cardin's making a video game.
Cardin's making a Book of Mormon video game.
It's Chloroform in Pixels. That's what he's dealing with.
First Nephi
Chloroform in Pixels is pretty funny by that kid.
chapter 1 through 4, but I caught what you said about Chloroform and Pixels, and that is actually pretty good, man. That's pretty good. So yeah, I got to tell you, I'm sorry. Look, Jared, I like you. We spoke on the phone. I think you're a smart guy. I think he's open-minded. I don't think he's an anti-Mormon. I think he's acting in good faith and everything like that. But I can assure you, my man, if you're missing the beauty of the Book of Mormon from a believing or a non-believing perspective, I don't think it's a problem with the book.
And here's another of my issues with Ward Radio is they want other people to act in good faith, but then they don't act in good faith.
Yeah.
So
I do think it's a problem, just like you said. I do think it's a problem with the book enough that you could, if you got the entire world to read it by force and took a poll, I think a huge portion of them would land on the side from the first read that they found it boring. Huge majority. That's my guess or hunch it would be. So you have to deal with that and say, well, okay, how do you answer that sort of deal, or make it come to life, or make it more interesting to people, or because there's plenty of stuff in the world that you kind of need to get way more context into something to make it more interesting.
Well, and I think good faith is like being honest, not like being performative, like not having performative outrage. And I think it also involves like not assuming the worst of people. So, and they try to do
like
this
when he
Jared.
said well, when Carden went into the thing about, only atheists, or
right.
that this guy wasn't doing that,
Right.
So
here just for a second on this.
Yeah.
Let's just say that it's not a it isn't what Joseph claimed it is. It's still a remarkable work of pseudepigrapha, if you were to call it that, in the sense of this. It demonstrably has like really interesting stories, moral conundrums, family dynamics, miraculous events, allegories, theological contributions.
What do you say about the Bible if you can't see this in the Book of Mormon?
And you're thinking that Ecclesiastes is somehow more exciting and more like cool in its like plots than the story of like the people of Ammon and the slaying of Laban and the Abinadi story, and like these are iconic stories that all of us sort of grew up with, that we look at and we put them. I would say that we tend to enjoy those stories more even than the Old Testament stories.
Well, and people that didn't
from a
grow
story
up,
perspective.
people that didn't grow up with it. I mean, converts to our religion love it. I mean, it is the thing that converts people to join Mormonism, and there were more converts to Mormonism in the last year than any year in the history of the church.
Here's an example. A specific.
I again think if you poll most of the people who got converted to Mormonism, it wasn't because of the exciting story of Laban getting their head cut off, or something like that. Like it's it's social. Like at first, if people get like farther into that, it's kind of few and far between, just like it is few and far between with random people, but I don't know. I need to get going because I got to go walk a puppy dog. But maybe we come back to this or talk about the other one where they talk about, I don't know about talking about if they know if God knows the future or not. What do you have a belief on that?
Oh, it's funny you bring that up. Like I always have these ideas for writing books, and one of them is about time travel book.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty novel, right? Time travel book. But I was like, I need to read about like the philosophy of time before I would ever write something like that. And there's different philosophies of time.
Have you seen the movie Primer?
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
that's I think that's the best time travel movie.
It's definitely the most hardcore on the.
Yeah, I think that's above my pay grade, and I think not enough religious people say that. Like they start arguing about like the nature of God as if they have that all figured out, which is kind of weird. I think that God either knows the future because he's out of time. I wonder what C.S. Lewis says about this. Either because he's like above time and experiences it all at once, or because he understands all the system of everything so well that he can just predict different things that will happen. But I'm not a philosopher or a theologian. And so that's like way above my pay grade.
Yeah, well, might be interesting to talk about that stuff. And it's interesting because Hayden and Jacob got into the two different debates, so they're actually debating each other. And one was if God knows the future of what you're going to do or not, and the other one was what was it? It was just this week too.
It was if God had a God, was it?
Yeah, infinite regress or one big super God. Which I don't know. If you want, we can keep continuing looking at this stuff. Can stick more to Mormon religious things and what we think about them, because they're kind of interesting debates and all that sort of stuff. And at least they're doing some debating. I guess that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I thought. I mean, I guess they're going to try to reach out to this guy. He's going on a trip with them or whatever. But yeah, just kind of some of the ways Carden was with him was like, all right. Come on, Carden. Like all we ever do is kind of throw charity your way, and let's,
Well, and we should all try and do unto others as you would have them do to you. So like whatever mental virtues or charity you want someone to have coming your way, or to take your views seriously, or to, like you should exhibit those. And Ward Radio is not a good example of doing that. So they are constantly saying they want other people to act a certain way or take them seriously. Well, you have to do it back. You have to do it the other direction.
Yeah, well, I try to think like if somebody read the Book of Mormon and were crazy excited about it, I'd be a little shocked, but I wouldn't be like, well, you're a dumbass. I wouldn't say that to him or something like that. I'd be like, oh, wow, you loved it. Like, that's not what I was expecting.
Well, and a credit to the people, as most of the stories I hear are like people talk about the community or just how impressed they were by the members of the church. I mean, that's a good thing.
Just like Mark Twain was. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So that's that it doesn't mean that the Book of Mormon necessarily has to be crazy interesting for that to be true. In fact, you would hope you actually want not your religious text to be the most interesting part of your religion. You would want the people, the adherents, to be the interesting part.
For sure. I was talking to a friend earlier this week who was going through the leaving the Mormonism, and he's very, very kind of generally upset, going through the anger phase of all of it and thinking about like tithing and all that sorts of stuff. And I listened to him and joined in with him on some of the frustrating parts of being a missionary and all that sorts of stuff. But by the end of it, I also did, and I can't help but ever do this, but I did kind of point out to him that he's got 4 kids. And I don't know for sure if I asked him, like, do you think those 4 kids would be in your life if it wasn't for this thing? Like, if you just remove this thing out of your youth and you're growing and you're meeting your wife and your sort of stuff and your guys' perception on when you had to have kids and stuff, would those 4 kids be in your life? Because I can tell you, I left it at 20, 21. Like, those kids aren't in my life. Maybe something would have happened or it could have happened for you, but still, there's something to stop and go, yeah, all that hustle I did to pay all that tithing or all those church things I went to, I got this family here, you know what I mean? That probably wouldn't have, like, it really wouldn't have happened exactly like this if it weren't for that.
Well, and one of just the utilities of religion, just pragmatically speaking, like even if you're like it's not true, the idea that like you aren't the top peg in your mind or in your universe, and that you have to submit to something above you, that's just good for people in general. Now, I happen to think there is something to religions, generally speaking, and specifically Christianity. So I think there is something to that. But even if you don't, it's just good not to be the center of your own universe.
I agree with that. Just the best of the atheists, the best of the religious can just join forces and shake hands in agreeing that they themselves are not God. It's somebody else, or
yeah. Well, and you could be an atheist and have that perspective, or you could be a religious person. And I'm guilty of this a ton. C.S. Lewis talks about this. You could be a religious person and be super guilty of that, right?
Oh, totally.
He calls like the spiritual cancer is pride. It's like when you have it figured out, you have all the right answers, and you might say that God is like the highest thing, but really it's like it's you, because you're pretty good.
Yeah, and I absolutely think that's something that happens, as James Lindsay points out, happens with atheistic types, like whether they know it or not saying all atheists at all, but you can totally get into I am the center of all things and almost kind of solipsistically stop seeing other people and only kind of view it as everything is like accidentally turn yourself into a god in that sort of sense, or thinking that you are that thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done that. I'm in my 40s. Like, I've lived long enough to see where I've done that and to realize like I'm a shitty god.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was saying it the other day too with like Marty and Jared, just like the fact they have kids. like I 100% hunch. Another one of my hunches that I seen from earlier, but I just barely recently got a dog, and there's a reason people who don't have kids like end up getting a bunch of pets and all sorts of stuff. But I think there's something to be said that when you don't have kids that you're more worried about than yourself, the navel gazing on yourself can make the pain that you feel in yourself, even if it's just like physical pain, worse, because you're just sitting there thinking about that instead of getting out of your head. And you got to find some way to get out of your head and care about something else harder than you're caring about yourself. And I think it can become so bad that like even actually like a back pain might be worse because you're not just getting out of your own head and thinking about somebody else or something, you know. And that's just an immediate pragmatic thing of like, but I definitely would hunch that would be true, just because you have more time to navel gaze on it and focus on it. And
yeah, that's definitely an advantage, or a potential advantage. You don't have to, like, it doesn't mean that automatically happens, but that definitely is a potential advantage to having kids, a big potential advantage. The downside is, the disadvantage is,
you feel the pain when they
right,
you feel the pain when they feel the pain, yeah,
or when you cause the pain. That's like the worst, you know. It's like it's like the thing you care about most, and you did the most to hurt them. That's yeah, that's no bueno.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah. Well, good thoughts to end on and think about. But yeah, we'll keep talking about stuff. I got to get running. It is 3 hours in. Thanks for coming on and giving us your perspective on stuff.
Well, and it might take me a few months. Yeah, but when I finish the LDS scriptures, I'll have to check back in.
Yeah, we should do the whole thing. Maybe that second half after 3rd Nephi gets extra exciting, and then you'll have a road to mastic after you do the prayer right.
Well, I wanna read the lectures on faith, so I want to go like all the way.
Nice, right on. Well, all right. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It was a lot of fun, and we'll catch you next time. So, thanks, man.